Hello, hello, everyone. It's time for my RPG. Today I'm going to be joined by Pazure, who is going to take us through Kingdom Hearts 1.5. There's a lot more words in the title. There's just a lot of words. But before that, just some reminders for everyone. Community Spotlight is going to be happening Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be showing you the need for speed. What better game to show off on this channel? SGDQ website, or the GDQ website has announced the dates for SGDQ. All the info is up on gamesdonequick.com. And just a reminder, all of our sub and bit revenue for the whole month of June is being given to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. Thank you so much for everybody who is helping to contribute to that. And with that, Pazure, tell me about yourself. Tell me about this game. Tell me about the speedrun.
I've been running this for about 5 years now, off and on. It's one of my childhood favorite games. I love running it. It's pretty simple and easy to get to, at least this category. But other than that, it's just the game I started off my Twitch with, and hopefully it sticks with me. I've been playing it off and on, so I enjoy it so much. I enjoy the whole series, pretty much.
Awesome. Can't wait to see it. We're also joined by Rebel Dragon, who's going to be helping talk us through everything that you're going to be doing. I assume it's just going to happen so fast that we're going to need tons of commentary.
Yeah, I'm here as well. I played this game off and on a few years ago, but I've still kept up with everything that goes on with it, speed run wise. It was also my first game I learned as well.
All right, and with that, I'm going to hand it over to you. You can let us know when to start the timer if you want to talk about, like I said, yourself or the game anymore before you get started, or we can jump right in. This is your stage now.
Right. We'll just go ahead and jump right in. We have about 3 minutes or so to talk during the intro. So as soon as I hit yes on this, we'll go ahead and start. I'll give you a countdown. One, go. 3, 2, 1, go. So again, this is Kingdom Hearts 1.5, beginner any percent. Been running it off and on for about 5 years. The category is pretty straightforward. There's a lot of keyblade swinging with the X button, as Rebel attested to earlier. But there's some instances where we do abuse magic and summons and things like that, especially late in the game with Dumbo Skip and things like that. But for the most part, here going forward, it's going to be a lot of jumping and swinging of the keyblade.
Yeah, a lot of this game is optimizing your combos, and a lot of combos will be doing in the air, because air combos are a lot faster than ground combos. Because when you do any attacks in the air, whenever you land, it cuts basically your recovery, so you can just automatically jump again. Same goes for magic. We tend to use magic in the air as well. There's maybe 1 or 2 instances where you might fire on the floor just to quickly kill an enemy or something, but other than that, it's mostly jump and use them.
Yeah, the animation for grounded finishers is really long, and it's really, you're really losing time pretty much if you're not doing air combos for some fights. Well, majority of the fights.
Yeah, really there's a couple of instances where ground is fine. Yeah.
I will admit I will be doing some slower strats later on as far as like Anteye Surah. I'm not gonna be going for the air combos in Riku 2.
You're not going for the 20-second fight on Anteye Surah?
No. Absolutely not.
Damn Rebel will be mad at you, dude.
I haven't gotten around to put that much time in the air combo, so I will be going a bit slow there, but we'll try to keep everything fast as we can with everything else. But yeah, this intro here is not skippable, but for some reason on the Xbox version, which came out about a couple months ago, you can skip this opening cutscene, which is weird. So I think they separated that on the leaderboards here recently.
They did, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, they did.
As soon as
they saw that you could skip, it was like, oh, no, they're no longer together anymore.
Yeah. On the Xbox, we'd already be in the run and just swinging away, but we just have to sit here and watch this, and this happens for every single run that you do. And then there's one more unskippable cutscene later on in the run that we won't be getting to for another hour and a half or so, but I'll explain that when we get there. But yeah, we're about to start here soon. I'm about to gain control of Sora. And yeah, we're gonna be swinging away for the next 2 hours. So hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Hell yeah. Right, so as soon as this cutscene finishes, we get dropped straight into Die to the Heart, which is this game's tutorial section. So this is where we get to pick our kind of stat route, EXP route, and our ability route, which matter for the entire game. And actually it's been a solid route for the past like few years, but I know when this game was first being around, it changed every other week what they did. So
yeah.
When me and Payne started running this, it was pretty solidly set in stone. But like, so he's gonna pick staff because he wants the MP, the extra MP bar, but also the ability tree for staff is really good. And then he drops shield because we're on beginner and we get a bunch of defense ups and power ups on beginner, so we don't need the defense from shield, but we still want a little bit of extra stat that strength that the leftover sword then gives us. Cool. So now this is when the game teaches you how to
press the X button.
How to swing the keyblade. Well, swing the wand at this point. Cool, so there's a lot of text you've got to mash through. So most cutscenes in this game, outside of the couple that Payne has already mentioned, you can skip. There's one other unskippable cutscene in this game, which we don't see in this run because we don't grab the keyblade that you get from it. So yeah, but text scenes in this game are not skippable, so you got to mash through all the text whenever it shows up. And you can use both the X button and the triangle button to do it on the English version. On the Japanese version, the controls are flipped as per most Japanese games. So it's circle and triangle instead. So this is teaching you about opening chests and stuff. And
I didn't get the jump.
Oh, no jump. If you time a jump after opening the chest, you can jump towards the box. It just saves like a second because you're right in front of it rather than having to walk a little bit towards it.
I got the air combo though. That's
good. You got the air combo? Nice. Nice. That barrel is really hard to air combo. There's actually a even better strat you can do after like destroying the barrel. You can lock onto the door and jump towards it. But right, so this is where he's going to pick his EXP route. So there's 3 different ones. There's night, dawn, and day. Dawn gives you more EXP up through the 30s. I can't remember the exact level. Day gives you basically the same all the way, and night gives you more EXP past the 30s. We picked dawn because we want as much EXP as we can get early on, so we can grab all our good stuff early. Oh, time for shadows too.
And that's actually really good. Holy moly!
Was that really good?
Yeah.
Oh, yo. Yeah, so you can finish this in like 3 combos if you get like the best RNG possible. the mythical 3 combo.
So at this point we have to beginner mode gives you all of these early abilities that you can put on right from the start. So I'm gonna put on all these power ups and defense ups, and we save the AP ups for later on to sell to buy gummy ship pieces. But just slapping all these on now, and these are gonna carry us. The last one. These are gonna carry us throughout the entirety of the game, pretty much. I think because you only pick up one other power up later on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's this is pretty much the end of the tutorial here. Once I come up and beat up on Dark Side 1, there's a specific combo here that you want to do. It's changed throughout the years, but
just we went from hitting the hand to hitting the head to hitting the hand.
Yeah.
Because hitting the head actually gives you EXP, so we used it to. So we used to use it to get more EXP, but there's a different set of routes that a different set of kills that you can get to get it just as fast. So
yeah, surprisingly, most people wouldn't think to like go up and hit the head on the top, but it does give you, for every finisher you get on the head of Dark Side 1, it gives you a tech boost, a tech EXP boost or whatever of like 2 EXP.
A tech point, yeah.
Yeah, a tech point, which is very helpful to us in the run in the early game. But
yeah, so
that was for a different route, and now we just hit on the hand like normal.
Oh yeah, you're doing PS4.
Yeah.
So there used to be a different strat you can do there on every other version, but on the PS4 version, 60 FPS messes with it. You can on RIP. Most other versions of this game, you can run towards the side of the plank, jump and swing, and that'll get you up. But on the PS4 version, you can do it, but it's like frame perfect. So we just grab the barrel and throw it instead. So, and then he takes this route here through the water, and then he's gonna do a little bit of swimming towards the ladder at the back because it saves like half a second to do so.
Which I didn't think it did at first. I was one of the few people that
you were one of the naysayers.
Yes.
Shout outs to Salad for that one.
Yeah, he did find that that was faster by a little bit, so shout outs to Salad.
Alright, so that's the end of day one. No tie potion.
Yeah, I wish we didn't get it. It kind of messes up the item round later on.
Yeah, it does.
But we do sell it anyways for the gummy ship pieces we have to buy later on after we leave Destiny Island.
Yep. Alright, so there's a bunch of cutscenes here. And then we get to go to day 2, and basically the reason why he's collecting all the stuff hidden around the island, and especially these fish, is because Sora and his friends are planning to leave the island and they need supplies and stuff to do so. All the stuff collected in day 1 was to build the raft. The stuff collected in this day is for food and drink. So he's got to come into this cave to pick up a mushroom. Yeah, and the camera likes to lock in that cave.
Yeah, that's a notorious camera right there, but whatever.
Yeah, it likes to like beep at you angrily if you try and move it.
Yeah, day 2 is also notorious for, let's see if I can get this. I'm gonna whack on this tree here, and hopefully I can get one of the required items early and save a bit of time, but who knows? Maybe it's marathon luck.
Maybe you get task now.
And I didn't get it. Okay,
oh,
well, that's fine. But yeah, you can whack on that tree a little bit early to get one of the 2 required coconuts that you need in order to finish day 2. We keep the name the same there because it's not faster or anything to change it or anything else, so we just keep it at Excalibur.
Yeah, because it never scrolls across the screen or anything, and that text menu is so slow to use.
Yeah, and actually, that entire interaction between Sora and Riku is really slow in English PS4 for some reason. I don't know why. It's like he takes a minute or so to talk to you, way more than JP.
Alright, so what he's doing now is he's doing the race with Riku. He's taking a specific route to get through this. Your speed here matters, but also doesn't at the same time, because the race can only finish when Riku gets far enough. So, you know how good your race is depending on when the screen fades out, so... Cool, you got all the jumps. Those jumps are more awkward than they look. Platforming in this game is...
questionable.
Questionable sometimes. Alright, so if the screen fades out the right time there...
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was solid, yeah. Yeah. If like Sora gets a little run before the screen fades out, it means it was a pretty good race. If he fades out like instantly, it means that Riku was like right behind you.
So now we're just collecting the last couple of things we need before we can head out to day 3. I guess it's day 3.
Day 3, technically, yeah.
Yeah, technically.
Technically, it is the 3rd day. Alright, so he needs the mushroom, and it is a bit of RNG, the coconuts. Oh, yeah, nice.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. On the PS4 version, you have to be really, really quick to pick up those coconuts because they disappear like instantly sometimes. They just drop and go, no. So he picked up the water bottle from Kari there because he needed to pick up some spring water. There's a couple of places that you can go to get it, but you can just get it from the little bit of rock here that's shooting out water. And yeah, now he goes back to Kari, and that's the end of day 2. And then we get more of them cutscenes.
Yeah. A couple more cutscenes to skip after this, but yeah, like Rebel was saying, that's in the day 2. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. A lot of it's movement and platforming.
Have you played on the Xbox version?
Have I played on the Xbox version?
Yes.
I don't have an Xbox One, but from watching Violin play the Xbox One version, apparently he doesn't like the way the controller feels for playing it, and I can understand why. Because after playing cage games for so long with the D-pad on the left and the control stick at the bottom, flipping it around is that's questionable.
Yeah. So this would be technically day 3. We're gonna head over to Dark Side 2, and well, after we talk to Riku, and then get a few more cuts. But
yep. So this is where we get the Keyblade, but we don't kill any of the Heartless here because they just infinitely respawn. Then he goes in this door, walks through the cave, and then he gets a wonderful set of cutscenes again, and then we get to fight Dark Side 2. And then we don't get to see our buddy Dark Side for a long time.
Yeah.
He comes back eventually. Eventually he comes back.
Yes. So here's the Dark Side 2 fight.
Yeah, so Payne's gonna try and grab a couple of hits while his hands are close together, and then he's gonna go to the right side and just get as many air combos in as possible, as low as possible. This guy takes, I think it's 7 full air combos to kill if you get them all right.
Yeah, so that was kind of a sloppy fight. I kept getting caught under his hand, but you know, that's just the nature of the fight. So now we're magically in Traverse Town 1. We're gonna eventually meet Goofy, just not yet, but...
What do you mean? We just saw him.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a little preview, but yeah, we'll eventually run into them, but now we're in a completely new world.
Right.
With nowhere to go.
Traverse Town, there's a couple of ways to progress here. One way is to go to every single district, like go through every single door and watch every single cutscene that appears, or skip them, obviously. But the second way you can do it is you kill 5 shadows, then just go back to the accessory shop, and the game goes, oh, you're fine now. So he's going to swing Keyblade, and he got 3 there. You can get 4 or 5 there if you get lucky. So, yeah, he grabs the last 2 here, then he goes back to the accessory shop, and this just sets up the flag that you've done enough to proceed on with the game. You can watch this cutscene with Cid early, but no matter what, you have to go back into the accessory shop and come back out again to activate the next fight.
Which is Leon from Final Fantasy, obviously, or Squall rather. I missed that. Dude,
the jump. He can do one of 2 things. He can either throw a fireball at you, or he'll jump at you. If you get the jump, you can, if you react in time, jump up and hit him twice in the air, and that starts off the fight. But you have to react on the on-fly to that. He usually, like 9 times out of 10, he'll throw the fireball. It's not very often that he'll jump at you.
And it's not very often that you whiff in front of him as well, which I don't know why that happened, but...
Oh, dude, it's fine. You got the whiffer.
Yes.
you got the upward swing, the worst one. Oh, that cutscene there, at the start it looked unskippable, but once Riku opens his eyes, it becomes a skippable one.
Now, we used to... I believe current route does not pick up the elixir behind us. I used to do it, but I think it's slower, so we just are not going to pick it up.
We used to use a lot more elixirs throughout this run. A lot of the item routing in this game has come down to, we're just going to get rid of as many items as we can. And that should save the most, and that should save a lot of time. So cool. So now he's going to kill some more soldiers here. He kills 3 of them because at the end of the next fight with a bunch more soldiers, he'll hit level 7. Level 7 is a strength increase, which is useful for guard armor, which is the boss of this part. Right. So one thing that he will be doing in this next fight here is Donald and Goofy kind of just do stuff on their own. But if you press triangle, it calls them to you and sort of forces them to attack. And so Goofy kind of like will run through these and get them in one shot. Donald's fire one shots the soldiers, so
they weren't very helpful there.
They weren't very helpful there at all. No, they.
And I hope Goofy did not just use his ether. That would be really bad. He did just throw an item.
I think he used a potion because Donald still has 1 MP left. So Goofy has an ether here, and we don't want him to use it, so pray RNG that he doesn't use it. It's not the worst if he does use it, but it is kind of jank if he uses it, because you don't have an ether for a fight, for a set of fights coming up. It makes it a little bit slower. But you can work around it by saving MP from one part and then using it in a different part.
Yeah, I like the comfort of using keeping that ether because
Yeah.
Power Wilds is probably honestly one of the worst RNG segments in the game. It's so annoying.
Yep.
Which we won't be coming up until about another 20 or so minutes. It'll be the next world after this one. But this is basically TT1, at least for now. The Japanese route would leave, but there's a very interesting clip that only happens that's only done on English that we're about to consider in the second half of this menu.
Yeah, so the only real main difference between the Japanese version and the English version is that the Japanese version saves about 50 seconds on the text box speed throughout the run. There's a few other differences between English and JP, like for where you spawn in a couple of areas, but English gets to do an exclusive trick here, which basically it doesn't even out the time, but there's a couple of things that English can do that basically makes it so English goes from 50-ish seconds slower to about 23 to 25-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So it catches right up just from a couple of things that you can do. So he's going to go back to this room here and go to the grate at the back. So normally you're meant to go forward and you get a tutorial for trinities. On this trinity that he's going to, this red one, Sora just spawns inside the bars. So if you hold forward during this tutorial, he just walks through them.
The hardest clip in the game.
The hardest trick in any video game. I hold forward without any buffering, and it goes well every time. So what this allows us to do is we get an item that you don't get till Traverse Town 2 early, because Leon and Aerith are just stood here. So we get the Earthshine early, which gives us Simba. Basically what this then means is we can then go and grab Merlin's house and grab the save point at Merlin's house. And then in the second visit to Traverse Town, we can just save warp everywhere to not have to worry about coming back here and going off track. What this does mean is later on in the run, we have to use the Red Trinity in front of the bars here, because when he goes back out the door, they're just still going to be there.
I'm actually not going to do that. I'm going to save warp that too. So you'll never use a Red Trinity in Traverse Town.
Oh yeah. Sorry, you can talk to Merlin and go down there.
Yeah, that's what I'll be doing.
Yeah, you just save warp everywhere. I forgot about that. I was thinking PS3.
Yeah, there's a lot of differences between PS3 and PS4. So
yeah, due to faster loading times, you can just save warp everywhere. So, all right, swag fire.
Yes.
Oh, yo, you nailed it, dude.
That doesn't save time or anything.
It doesn't
it's just
save
nice.
time.
It's just nice to do on the way. Well, it might save a bit of time because you don't have to stop and jump and fire. Do it as you're falling.
Right, so now we get to see the magical Merlin cutscene. So we get a lot of the long unskippable segments out of the way early in this. So it's kind of nice because we get all this stuff out of the way, and then we just kind of get to play the game for like without really stopping for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so Merlin gets all his stuff out of the little bag, and then we're just gonna leave because what Merlin asks you to do in the second visit to Traverse Town is take a book places and all this other stuff, which we can't do right now because the flags aren't active. We don't have the gummy pieces that we need from the two worlds that we need to visit to get them, which are the next two places that we're going to go.
It would be really nice if you could just get Dumbo right here. I don't think it would be used for anything early game, but it would be nice too. But like Rebels just said, you can't.
Yeah.
And that's Traverse Town 1.
Yeah, nice Keyblade swing.
Yes.
So
really at this point, we're gonna edit our gummy ship and remove everything off of it and place two pieces down.
Yeah. So we're gonna take this lovely gummy ship and turn it into a tissue box.
Yes.
Because unlike KH2, in KH1, the smaller your gummy ship, the faster it goes, and it's exponentially faster to just have a tissue box with a little rocket on it. It saves quite a lot of time.
Yes. The tissue box gummy ship rather is quite comical. But later on, we'll be buying a couple of pieces and picking up a couple of gummy ship pieces to make these sections go a bit faster. But
yeah,
for the first couple of gummy ship missions that we do, they're just going to be pretty straightforward. You just go to point A to point B. There's not really much of anything else to be doing.
Yeah.
But at this point, we're heading over to Wonderland, which is the next world in the visit run that we're doing. We'll land there and progress through the game.
Hell yes.
Are
you doing Stench?
Yes, I was actually going to bring that
Hell
up. So
yes.
there's a text glitch exclusively to English again, which allows you to get some funky text in certain parts in Wonderland, and we'll explain more when we get there. But yeah, it helps saves a couple of bit more seconds on Japanese, since Japanese is a lot more faster as far as like text. But English has a few tricks up its sleeve to allow it to try and catch up and only be like 20 seconds behind, as opposed to the 50
catches
on.
Up.
Yeah.
It took what, 3 years?
Yeah.
It took how long?
Yeah, 3 years. But here's Wonderland. I used to get slack about this a lot for practicing this one fight, but
Oh yeah, you did.
yeah, I got a lot of slack for practicing the final boss in this world. But I feel like I do a pretty good job, so we'll explain that when we get here. But
You used to do like 3 practice runs, but right, we're ready for runs now, lads.
yes, it'll be the only thing I would practice, and then I would just go straight into runs. I wouldn't practice anything else, but I will say I feel pretty confident on the last boss in this world. But as far as the story goes, we have to pick up a piece of evidence to prove Alice's innocence, and we're just going to pick up the first piece of evidence here on the right.
Yeah, there's like 5 that you can grab. The only thing it does is the queen goes, please pick a box, and gives you like a bunch of random boxes that have like Heartless, Donald, and Goofy in. If you don't pick up all the evidence, but you only need one of them to proceed, so... You're meant to go around the entire world exploring to pick them up, but you can just go now. Grab the first one and we out. Oh, nice, you got a Heartless spawn.
Yeah,
Sometimes the Heartless just spawns behind you. There's not much you can do about it.
And you also want to make sure you pick up some money here, because you will need a bit of extra money to buy some guns later on.
Yeah.
So what I just did there was part of the glitch that's coming up here. All you would need to do is just go in the journal menu and then leave immediately. And for some reason, once you pick up the box, the text is just insanely fast. I believe it's faster than JP.
It is faster than JP because they're just instant. You don't need to mash them either. They just kind of disappear on their own.
And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't even matter what box. Well, it does matter, but as far as the text speed goes, it doesn't matter what box you pick up because of this text here. And it's kind of hard to see. I was mashing through it, but that text is not supposed to be displayed there.
Yeah, and then like it says random things like the Keyblade is reacting to something. Like it just kind of corrupts text and just like throws stuff everywhere. So this is Card Tower. You just have to hit the cranks and then destroy the tower. You don't have to worry about the cards themselves. You can go and hit the queen and it like distracts the cards, but we don't need to do that. We just need to keep hitting it. And also one thing that you would have been doing was doing very, very slow combos, because for some reason they do more damage to the crank than really, really fast ones.
Yeah, the fight was kind of bad, but it's also RNG, so...
Yeah, it's normal. You usually get hit by like a few cards. Alright. So now we get to go to the next room of this, which is the Upside Down room. So the Upside Down room, we have to activate a couple of candles, but also there's enemies that kind of spawn everywhere, so we need to avoid the enemy spawn zones. He knows where all the enemies spawn, you just gotta avoid those areas. There are ways to despawn them if they do spawn in, but you just don't want to have to deal with that.
I honestly almost spawned in a couple enemies. I missed that first jump.
You nearly did. You used to be able to do a dodge roll across the tables here as well, but 60 FPS was like, no, you can't do it anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like I said before, there's a lot of differences between PS3 and PS4. The biggest one being 60 FPS.
And a lot of the difference in movement and stuff just comes down to how the frame rate reacted with stuff. And on the PS4 version, it seems they kind of smoothed out a few of the textures when porting it, because there are some things that we used to be able to just dodge roll over that we can't anymore. So you have to like jump. There's some walls in Traverse Town we used to just be able to roll over. You have to you have to jump over them now, which means you have a higher chance of getting ledge grabs and stuff.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's time for Pain's fight.
I've already messed it up.
Oh, you already messed it up. Yeah, you had to go back up, Jeff. Oh no. All right, so Trickmaster here, you just have to keep jumping up and hitting him. You can either jump on the chair or you can just jump up and hit him. Chairless was kind of pioneered by Goglebesh years ago and was like not 100% used until PS4 came out, and people were like, "Yo, that's a pretty nice strat there. It's way easier than trying to get on the chair."
I honestly did not know that he came up with that. That's actually surprising.
From what I remember, is because he sucked at getting on the chair, so he was just like, "I'm not going to use it."
Yeah, but that's definitely way faster than spending time getting on the chair, and that actually is not intended for the fight, but for some reason you can get up there and hit Trackmaster a lot.
Yeah, just from a max height jump and a max like height swing, it's just enough to clip him when he's like not jumping up or moving around too much. So cool. So that's the end of Neverland, Wonderland. There are too many lands. Wonderland. Dude, I'm wrong warping further in.
If only. Yeah. Now we're on the deep jungle, which obviously Tarzan's place. There's gonna be a fight at the beginning of the world as soon as we land, but there's just more of this gummy ship portion that we have to go through. I would have to say Deep Jungle is quite literally my least favorite world in the beginning game. I dislike it very much so. It's very hard to go fast in.
It's a maze as well. It's one of the hardest worlds, especially when you first ever play this game, to know where to go, because it's not obvious where you have to go at all, and you have to go up and down the world continuously just to activate certain like cutscenes, and this game gives you no kind of indication that you have to do that. You just have to kind of hope that you get it.
We will be abusing save warping, where on PS3 it would be really slow to do that, but we are gonna, I think, save warp at least twice here, and go to places that obviously you can get there normally, but it'll be faster to save warp, so we'll explain that when we get here, and I'll explain why I do certain movements once we get there.
Alright, cool. So we're nearly at the end of the gummy mission here. The gummy missions get a lot better when we get the extra pieces that
make us go faster.
Mentioned earlier, yeah.
So Donald, Goofy, and Sora, they get in a little tussle and they get separated here. I wish I knew why, but at this point, speedrunning this game 5 years, I just mash text and just not pay attention.
It's because Sora believes that Riku's there. And Donald's like, why? We're not going there. When the whole point of them going on their adventure is to seal all the keyholes. Mm-hmm. Which they don't do if they don't go to the deep jungle.
So here's the boar one.
The boar one's very easy to whiff on, but you've only got to hit her a few times.
That fight's really good if you know how to do low air combos, but I'm obviously not doing those right now.
Yeah, air combos are the hardest tech in this game to get used to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cutscene, you can skip.
Yo, nice cutscenes.
So I touched this save point here because I'm going to warp to it later to make things go faster. Normally you wouldn't do that, you would just go straight down the minigame there, but you want to touch that way you can warp to it later. Now we need to pick up all these slides.
That minigame as well.
Oh yeah. Now we need to pick up all...
You have to go down it.
Yeah. And I'm messing up movement here.
Oh,
but
dude, the movement. It's fine. You're looking for the secret, or what is it? The 7th slide? The 6th slide? Whichever one it is.
The secret 7th slide, yes. Yeah. But we need to pick up all these slides in order to obviously progress the... And we'll come in here and talk to Jane, get that started. Skip a few more scenes.
Right. And the reason why you picked up the slides is because they got to go into this camera because you're trying to teach Tarzan about humanity or something. Cool. So it's just a bunch of pictures here.
Yeah, and after this cutscene, we'll go ahead and save warp to the place I touched earlier.
Yep.
Which normally, again, you would not do on PS3 because it's way slower.
Yeah, there was a movement chain that you had to do on PS3 to get to where we're going to now. But this is just way faster than doing the movement chain. Rip hippo hop.
Yeah, that I like doing hippo hop because if you were good, you could get it fast. But obviously, faster strats, are better.
Yep. All right, so you got to come up the tree to activate this cutscene. Then we climb up this vine and then we go back down the tree. A lot of this world is going up and down the trees.
Yeah. A lot of cutscenes to skip here and all that, but we're getting into power routes here in a second. So we skip a few more cutscenes, which I do not like. It's one of the worst beginning game splits ever. You need a lot of practice.
Yeah. So there's 6 kind of rooms of power worlds you got to fight through. The fast way to deal with them is just throw a couple of blizzards at them. But they kind of spread around and are really annoying to hit sometimes. So, a lot of this fight is reactionary to where the power worlds go. If you watch that cutscene, they actually kind of spawn in a somewhat consistent place, but watching the cutscene is slower than just getting a fast fight here.
Yeah, and I'm going to do that save warp again in order to save time. So I'm going to go back and save out.
Yeah.
And we'll go back and do the second fight.
The only real difference in this is we don't have Tarzan for these fights as well. Tarzan's actually quite helpful in power worlds, but the save warp is just way more worth it than having Tarzan. So we complete the climbing tree, then more power worlds. And then after this is when we'll throw the ether.
The ether that
or we'll throw it in the room after this one.
I'll throw it here, but that's the ether that I wanted Goofy to save earlier and try guard armor, because it's really helpful to. Obviously, we're using magic here at this point. I guess we didn't really explain that, but magic is going to be pretty good here on.
Magic is strong.
Yeah, and especially in beginning game.
Alright, so this room of power worlds is probably the worst one in terms of how far out they can spread. There are some times where they'll all be next to each other, and then you just do 3 blizzards and they all die. But you sometimes get them spread out like that, and they can be annoying to deal with. Right, so he does the little spin there to make sure he gets over the ledge. Now, with this room here, he's going to try and gain a bit of MP back, because whenever you hit enemies, the orange bar builds up, and that gives you back MP. So we use that to build up a couple of bars of MP, so we have some to use in the final Power World fight here. So quick gun combo there, and then roll back, and then just kind of throw out some blizzards. You were a bit short on MP there.
Yeah. They were all lined up perfectly.
Yeah, they were.
And if I had one more, that fight would have been over way sooner. But yeah, that fight can go terribly wrong if you don't know what you're doing. All 6 of those fights can just go terribly wrong.
Yep.
Here's a bit of tech, I guess. You do not have to speak to Jane there in order to progress the game. You can obviously just touch the save point, come back out, and then do this fight, which is Sabor 2.
Alright, so Sabor 2 kind of has a move where she can jump into the bamboo on the side and then just kind of jump away. But yeah, you just have to keep hitting her and then she'll die.
That fight was pretty good. If
that fight was pretty good.
Stop me.
Goofy is the main enemy in this game.
Yeah, obviously.
Goofy and Donald are the final bosses of any Kingdom Hearts game. Alright, so now we gotta go back up the tree. We're actually gonna go up this way this time, and we're actually gonna use we're gonna enter a mini game, and then we're gonna quit the mini game, and that just warps us from one end of the course of the mini game to the other.
Frame perfect.
Yo, frame perfect. Oh, yo, was frame perfect. Hell yeah. So yeah, that just warps us from the start of the mini game to the end of it, and now we have to hit this this fruit. So this fruit takes exactly 15 hits to defeat. It doesn't matter what you're playing, what difficulty you're on, what your strength stat is, what anything. Just always takes 15 hits to beat it.
So once we talk to Jane again, we're gonna go ahead and fight Clayton and Stealth Sneak, which is the last boss of Deep Jungle. So hopefully this there's a skip that I'm gonna go for called Animation Skip, which, not to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty sure I think I found that a couple of years ago on accident, but complete accident. And Donald actually helped me out there, which is good.
Alright, so he's gonna do a couple of swings on Clayton. So yeah, the animation skip is to basically Stealth Sneak's invisible here. And if you do everything right, yeah, he got a ground hit there, which kind of ruins it. It skips this animation here with Stealth Sneak reappearing and kind of like leaning towards you. And just get him a few more times after he jumps while he hits his head on the rock. And then Clayton flies off of him, and you got to do basically 7 2-hit air combos and then a full air combo, and he dies.
Oh, was one hit down. I missed one
I
hit,
got
but
one
yeah.
hit down. Yeah.
There's one other thing I wanted to explain. Some of the cutscenes you can skip in the white and in the black, like this one. You can also skip this one in black as well. You don't have to wait for it to come up. That's a little bit of speed tech that we discovered running this game.
Yep. So the 2 hits that he was doing to Clayton, the stun locking style works on a number of bosses, just 2 hitting them over and over and over again. But so yeah, that's why they implemented systems in the other games that stops us from doing that. Yeah, cool, you got it. So that's fast waterfall cavern movement. Waterfall cavern is one of the hardest pieces of movement because the camera is just the absolute worst.
Yeah, it's scary for new players to go for that jump there because the camera will just not play nice with you.
Yeah, the camera just is absolutely horrible. And if you make one mistake there, you can fall down the entire room and have to jump up all over again.
And that is Deep Jungle, so we get the Keyblade there. Honestly, forgotten the name.
Jungle King.
Yeah, Jungle King. Yeah, there you go. It just slipped in my mind, but yeah, you grab that. We'll be using that obviously later on since it's our first Keyblade, and it's a bit stronger than the Kingdom Key. And
yeah, it has a higher strength stat and a bit more reach than the Kingdom Key does, so it's a lot better for some fights that come up. Right, so now we're going to ignore Olympus Coliseum completely because we don't get any benefit from going there. So the main kind of routing of this game is on any percent is we do the least amount of worlds that we can do to beat the game. So we skip Olympus Coliseum and Atlantica completely in this. We don't go to either of them at all. We might see Atlantica later if RNG isn't on our side.
Yes.
But we don't go in there, but we may get to say hello to the world itself. But yeah, the game basically only requires like a few, like a minimum number of worlds and keyhole seal to beat the game. And then in the final world of this game, you can do a couple of extra fights, which basically makes up for you not going to those worlds and sealing the keyholes. The only benefit of going to OC would be getting Thunder, but Thunder just isn't useful in this game in
this
the beginner
category
speedrun at all.
I think isn't it useful on Proud?
I think
or all worlds rather.
I think you grab it in all worlds and you grab it in level 1 because early game Thunder is really, really strong when you don't have the power of Blizzard on your side like we do on beginner.
The power rounds with Thunder is an absolute best blessing, and honestly, if OC wasn't so slow, it would be worth getting, but it's too slow to get for any percent.
Sealing the keyhole in OC takes like way longer than just doing the 5-minute trip to Wonderland or the 10-minute trip to Deep Jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Way longer. Alright, so we have to sit through these gummy missions because we don't have our warp drive yet. Once we get the warp drive, we don't have to sit back through gummy missions that we've already gone through.
And we're on the way back to Traverse Town 2, which again, in the Japanese version, is going to be a bit longer, but the few tricks that we did earlier, including the clip, we allowed us to do some TT2 stuff and TT1, which is Traverse Town 1 and 2.
Yep.
So normally you would land in the accessory shop, I believe, but we did not grab that save point, so we have to land in the first district and dodge roll our way up there and complete Traverse Town 2 stuff as normal. Once we land, we'll be selling a few items that we picked up along the way, like the AP ups from earlier and the high potions that we picked up, in order to reach about 1,500 money, which is what we need to buy the 2 gummy ship pieces that we need to go faster, obviously.
Wasn't it 1250? It's 250. It's 250 for the Fire G and then 1,000 for the Haste G.
You're right. I'm just so used to just doing it and just not worrying about it.
It's one of those things that's like, money in beginner is not really anything you ever have to worry about. Like, you may, like, if you're one short, you're like, oh no, what did I do wrong? There's nothing really that you did wrong. It's just you kind of might not have picked up 1 money on the way.
Right.
But yeah, generally.
As long as you're mindful to pick up, as long as you're mindful to pick up a little bit of money in Wonderland after the Guard Tower fight, you should be fine.
Yep.
And if absolutely necessary, you can excel the elixir, but we try to keep that for late game fights.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world if you do have to sell the elixir. You might just have to you just have to live without one for a bit.
So we talked to Sid here, and he explains to us that we can go fight opposite armor, but we won't be doing that until really late in the game. I'm gonna sell a few things here.
Yep. Me and Castle decided to call him optional armor. It's optional whenever you fight him.
Yes. I'm doing more save warping here. Again, it's PS4 exclusive, and then we're gonna go back and grab Simba.
Yep. Yes, we gotta talk to Merlin here about the book.
Yes, yeah. And then we'll be picking up the Simba summon, which is gonna be very useful in many parts out the run.
Simba's actually one of the stronger summons actually in beginner mode. The other ones, the other one we pick up is Dumbo. We don't use Dumbo for damage like we use Simba for. We use Dumbo for a couple of tricks that we can do later on. Simba is just raw damage output in a lot of places because his damage is based on how much MP you have. So you can basically make him really, really strong by just decking yourself out with all the MP.
So we meet.
Unlock the door.
Yeah, we gotta unlock the door, and that cutscene we skipped there was meeting Riku for the first time since we left Destiny Islands, and we have to do a few more things here, and we'll be on our way to Agrabah. Again, in the Japanese version, you would have to do a lot more things here, and at this point, I think you're saving at least 30 seconds on the Japanese version.
Yeah,
I believe so. I think it's 30 seconds with the.
It's around about that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it like. That's what it was on PS3. I don't know what it is on PS4. It's more than likely the same amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just one of those things that if you do want to play this game, you don't have to speedrun the Japanese version to actually get a good time.
Mm-hmm.
One of the times in like the top 5, I think, is on English. Like, there's a guy over 213 on English, which is really, really good.
Yes.
So, especially for English, that's really good.
All right, so we're going to buy the 2 gummy ship pieces here. And, of course, like Rebel stated earlier, you need 1250 to buy them, which I have more than enough.
Yep, so we get the wolf money. Yeah. Then we buy the Fire G and the Haste G. Because the Fire G increases our speed in the gummy, and then the Haste G lets us do a boost, which also increases our speed even further. So there are a couple of other gummy pieces that we get throughout the run that increase our speed even more.
We warp to Neverland to save 4 seconds on the drive to the warp that we need to go through, but I just need to put on these couple of gummy ship pieces here.
Yeah, the portal is just closer to the portal's just closer.
Let's.
What have you done, Payne? What have you done?
I was going too fast. All right, let's
Let's
slow down a bit. Get back to where we were before. This is gonna be very jank.
I don't know what's happening anymore.
Okay. Alright, let's just start from scratch, alright.
Oh
Let's
my
just
God.
pretend that this didn't happen.
Shout outs to Timmy. Oh,
Yeah,
that
oh
was
my goodness.
this is like the best gummy menu I've seen in a while. Just find the haste. There it is.
You know what? Yeah, let's just leave it at that.
Let's just go with that. It's fine. It's fine.
I
We're
usually
done.
put on a weapon, but we're just gonna go weaponless.
We're just gonna go.
So that was as bad as it could have been. That's actually never happened to that extent, but
Oh, at least you didn't flip the ship on its side and have the rockets facing the other way.
I'm so used to just doing the inputs and not like actually knowing what to do in the menu, so that's why that went pretty bad. But you know, everybody has to laugh at themselves with mistakes like that. Is, I mean, it's
It
just,
happens. The gummy menus are not intuitive. In the slightest is not intuitive.
I really butchered that, holy moly.
You just spaghettied all over the floor, dude.
I was flabbergasted with that one, but
You're flabbergasted.
yeah. But anyways, we're gonna go to Agrabah, which is the start of mid-game, and quite possibly mid-game is probably the hardest, I'd say, for me at least. It's really hard to do things consistently and be fast,
Yeah.
but we're gonna try our best. I like end game the most. I feel pretty speedy in mid game. Excuse me, end game, but mid game is definitely punishing if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, mid game, beginning game is hard because you don't have a lot of options. Mid game is hard just because the execution required to get through this really, really fast is actually a lot harder than beginning game. Right, so Agrabah, lovely world.
Yeah, another
Right,
save
so-
warp is coming up, but that's going to be after we talk to Jasmine here in a second.
Yep, there's been lots of different routes for Agrabah as well. The safe warp is known as Bandit Skip.
Yes.
Because on a very, very, very old route of this, we used to kill those 3 bandits, jump up and grab the keyhole. Then there was a trick where you would allow those bandits all together, go back into that room later and do a very, very specific piece of movement to grab the keyhole early. Or you can do Bandit Skip, which is grab a save point and just save warp around to where you need to go.
Yes, which is what I just set up now. So
Which is just completely skips it, so...
It's very funny how we come up with these names.
Oh, yeah. We found a skip for a skip, so we just added skip on the end.
This fight is
Yeah, this
pretty
fight is hard.
annoying.
So this fight used to be a fight where we summoned Simba, but we discovered, only last year-ish, the year before maybe, that it's slightly faster to just use blizzards on these guys. It also, getting rid of Simba here actually gets rid of a potential crash point that can happen in this game. So if you use Simba in this fight, there's a chance at the end of the fight, if Simba decides to jump, the game can just crash. I'm not sure if it does it consistently on the PS4 version, but it used to do that on the PS3 version. If Simba was like, yeah, let me jump, yeah, the game would just doesn't like Simba in the air when it fades out after that fight.
I don't know if that happens on PS4 actually.
I don't remember if it does or not. I don't think I've seen it happen, but that's because no one uses Simba there anymore.
Yeah.
So
Here's another save warp. We're gonna go into Aladdin's house, which actually saves a lot of time here to do this. And there's gonna be first big menu here that I have to do.
Yep. Are you adding Aladdin back into the party? Yeah, you are.
yes.
Because Aladdin makes a lot of this world a lot easier. So cool, he's putting the XP necklace on Goofy. And we generally keep Goofy in our party for most of this run. So we put the XP necklace that we get for playing on beginner mode on Goofy, because it just makes Goofy way more useful. Right, luckily he got some good RNG there. So in this room here, there are a heart that's called Black Fungus that can spawn. You lose some time if Black Fungus spawn because you have to leave the room and come back in. Because fighting Black Fungus at this point in the game just takes way longer than just leaving and entering the room again. So yeah, cool.
Camera angles are all over the place right now.
I was gonna say. Your camera angles are wild, dude.
Yeah, so our next big fight is going to be Pot Centipede. It's kind of actually very specific where you want to kill him at, but we'll try to get this done here in a second.
Yeah, so something interesting that happens in this fight, the entirety of the bazaar area of Agrabah is open during this boss fight. So he's going to break through this barrier here, and now we've got to kill him before he gets anywhere near any of the other doors. So if you kill him here, it's really fast. He should be dead in a second. Yep, cool. So now if we move into the loading zone or the next area of the bazaar, it actually spawns us there. So it saves us having to go through another loading zone. And then we get to go straight back out to the desert to fight the next boss, which is Tiger Head. So this is where KH1 kind of like... KH1 differs from the other KH games because instead of a lot of mob fights, there's just boss fights in this version. There's just fight boss after boss after boss after boss in this version.
This is actually really fun, honestly.
Yeah, it is. Because it means a lot of the strats vary between like a lot of different fights. So this guy here, we used to go on his nose and like hit his eye, but you can hit his eye from the back of the head. So you go there, then and then after a few hits, he'll go to the front, and then he'll throw his head down, and then you can kill him before he gets back up again, and we call this the quick kill. And you should get it. Yeah, he's fine.
The proud strat varies a little bit different there, but I don't know if anyone noticed, but you really want to wait before you attack him, otherwise you'll mess up the pattern and it'll be a lot longer fight. But yeah, you definitely want to wait to hit him in the back of the eye before the fight starts, so you can start moving around. Which is very different for the category you're playing on.
Cool. So this is another area that's really wide and mazy, but all you got to do is go here, smack the pillar with a fire. You can hit it if you want, but we shoot a fire because it's slightly faster because we fall back into the water while doing so, which cuts the animation short as well. So then we swarm back by the door, and then we can move on to fight the next boss, which is Jafar. Jafar has actually another cool strat actually with how we beat him. So what's going to happen is we're going to do a specific set of moves on him and use a magic attack instead of a finisher. So it's going to be 2 hits then Blizzard, and that forces him to use his magic bubble attack, which he puts up the magical barrier thing, and then if you hit him at the right time after the barriers come up, he can't move from the platform. He just kind of stays there, and then we get to attempt to kill him before he moves or teleports. So this is called the 1 cycle strat. So I hope this goes well. Oh, the start is good. And if we have Aladdin with us, Aladdin makes this strat really easy because Aladdin's strength is really good. And this should be 1 cycle. Oh, that was close. That was very close.
Yeah, I mistimed the second attack he did, so I got hit, and that animation for getting hit is very long, but luckily Aladdin did enough damage to make up for the fact that I messed up, and I was able to get the 1 cycle, which is good.
Yep. Shout out to the fact we still don't have scan on. We have it, but we don't put it on for a while.
Yeah.
Right, so now we get thrown straight into the next boss fight, which is Genie Jafar. So right at the start of Genie Jafar is going to jump and throw out a few blizzards. The blizzards actually kind of manipulate what Iago does, as long as you don't move apart from jumping. So you shoot a few blizzards, and then Iago will go kind of on a set pattern, based depending on how many blizzards actually hit Jafar. So yep, he got the right set of attacks there. And now we want to get the quick kill on Iago by killing him before he gets anywhere. On the higher difficulties here, you actually have to have scan on for this fight, because Iago does different things depending on how much HP he has at certain parts of the fight. So you have to leave him with certain HP values, but on beginner, you can blast his health before he even gets a chance to move on to anything where he starts moving around the room. Oh yeah, shout outs to Spike for learning how to die on beginner here.
Yeah, so this part, you actually want to get to 0 HP before the end of this. It's a bit faster, like maybe 5 or 10 seconds faster to do that. Or I think it's even more than that, but it's kind of hard on beginner, but hitting specific rocks will actually help you get down to a lower HP.
Yeah, you can actually lock onto the rocks as well. It's pretty good. Are you gonna get space flip?
Yeah, I think space flip is consistent on PS4, but we'll get that an early kill there and finish the segment. And that is Agrabah 1.
Yeah, so the reason why dying there works is because the way the game respawns you from dying in KH1 is it puts you back into the room you were in before you died. But because the room doesn't exist anymore, the game can't put you back into the room, so it just moves you forward instead.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only a few seconds, but it's definitely worth it to try and die there.
You know, out of the 3 mid-game worlds, I think Agrabah is my favorite. That boss rush is really satisfying.
Yeah, you get Port Centipede, Tiger Head, Jafar, and Genie Jafar, all with wildly different strats, and that all require good execution to get right.
Yeah, though that mid-game really makes or breaks top runners in this game. You really have to have a really good mid-game in order to compete for the top times here. So
right, so now we get to move on to a world that doesn't appear on the map, but we have to do it. It's Monstro. So he clicked on the portal there because the portal is just the closest area for him to click on to travel to. But as long as you avoid it, you don't go into it. So this game's kind of open in that kind of way. As long as you stick on your line, whatever it is, on the gummy map, you don't have to go in any of the portals that appear. So we click on the portal and just avoid it. Alright, so the next world is Monstro, which is a huge whale that's going to appear in space and eat us. Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, it's wacky how he appears. I think it was a surprise to most people playing this game for the first time that he just appeared out of nowhere, and he's not missable. There's one planet in one world in this run that is required, but you can definitely miss, which Rebel attested to earlier. And it's definitely slower if you miss it, but we're just gonna hope and pray. We're gonna hope and pray that we get it first try, because it's very annoying to miss and come back and try it again.
It loses 46 seconds on the PS4 version to miss it or something.
The run's pretty much dead if you miss it.
Yeah. So here's Monstro. There's actually Monstro again is another world which is none of the room names make sense, so we just ignore them and we just learn which rooms to go into to go where. There is a little trick that you can do here which skips moving through one of the chambers, but it's kind of tricky to do sometimes because the camera can mess with you. But it does save like a good 8 to 10 seconds if like you do nail it. We called it chamber 3 skip. I'm pretty sure it was Hobbs that pioneered chamber 3 skip.
I believe
if I
so
remember
as well.
Correctly, on PS3. Like this game's been like attacked by so many people throughout the years from all angles.
I want to say this is the most speedrun Kingdom Hearts game on the leaderboards out of all the
Probably in terms of like the amount of people that attempted to learn this game, because this is the game that we would honestly recommend to people who have never tried to speedrun at any KH game before. This is the game that you really should look at if you really want to try this game, because to try the series, because none of the strats are that complex. A lot of them, like, there are really hard strats that you can do later in the game, but you don't have to do them. There are easier versions of every single strat that you can do in this game, and if you're struggling with something, this game's pretty freeform, and you can make up something that you want to do on the fly. So cool, he's going to go into chamber 2 here.
I bonked my head.
You bonked. Yep, so you try and edge yourself around in the load zone area, and then you jump towards the entrance on the right up on the ledge here. All it does is skip moving through that little room there, basically, because you end up by the barrels on the left of him there.
It's definitely difficult if you haven't practiced it. I haven't practiced it that much.
I find it harder on PS4 than I did on PS3. I don't know why. I think it's just because of how the camera is on PS4. that's one of the main differences between the PS3 and the PS4 versions of this game. The camera in the PS4 version feels like you're pushing around a brick of concrete. Like with how slow it moves.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
So this fight coming up here is Parasite Cage 1. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, you just hit him and he dies eventually. You try and stay like out of his attack range and stun him. You can actually stun lock this boss if you time the combos correctly. Which is really, really useful. The only thing you have to hope is that Riku or Donald and Goofy don't mess him up for you, but that actually went really well. Oh god, Goofy's going ham in the corner, dude.
Yeah, I mean, besides the beginning of that fight where I fell down, that fight was pretty solid.
Yeah.
And now we have another kind of a major menu to do here. If you want to explain it.
Oh yeah, menu. We open up a chest and get high jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is the English version, we actually spawn on the boat. The Japanese version doesn't actually spawn on the boat. But now this is where we put on 3 wishes and we shove on a bunch of abilities. And we put Ray of Light on for the extra MP. We put Scan, Hurricane Blast, and MP Haste on, and put a high jump on. There actually used to be a movement trick you could do here on PS3, which we called Zetrus Jump, because Zetrus pioneered it. But it doesn't work on the PS4 version because I mentioned earlier about some of the ledges getting like smoothed out on the port, and 60 FPS being really weird with how movement works. Sometimes it just doesn't work. We used to be able to like dodge roll up the wall and then jump up to the top platform that you have to go all the way around to get to. But yeah, we just have to go all the way around now. But yeah, cool. This is Parasite Cage 2. He's going to do a similar thing to this fight that he did to the first one, where he's going to try and keep it stun locked for the entire fight. This one has like a phase where if you do a lot of damage to him, he falls over like this, and then you can attack the blob in the middle. He's going to do 2-hit air combos to this, because if you do a full combo on this, he kind of stands back up again. But eventually he'll do a full combo on him, and then yeah, he'll stand back up, and then the fight just ends right after that.
Yeah, I kind of messed up that fight there. Kind of messed up that fight there, but we got it back. And it's very important to continue to hit after the fight is over, because you want to have the full yellow bar next to your MP bar for the next world that we're about to go into, which is Halloweentown.
Yeah, that's something that you do in a lot of boss fights, is you want to keep hitting bosses after killing them in a lot of places, because for some reason they still have hitboxes. Because fights don't instantly end in this game, they kind of end and then it goes slow motion and then it fades out, when in the other games it just kind of goes straight to the death screen of the boss.
Now with this this part here, once we warp back to Monstro, a lot of runners like to get up and stretch and move around and things like that. Sometimes there's a bit of time to do a quick bathroom break here as well, since there's a very long cutscene. So what I usually do, I just do a couple push-ups, or if I have to use the bathroom, I run and do that. But just try and keep the blood moving, since you're sitting here for at least
you got to do the turbo lube. You got to do the turbo lube break.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this will be definitely a great opportunity if anyone needs to do that, to just stand up and stretch and get some breath in you, or drink some water or anything like that.
All right. I think that you're saying that this would be a good time for us to take a quick break then?
Yes.
All right. Then hopefully so far everybody's been having fun, enjoying the speedrun. I certainly have. I will go ahead and pause your timer, and yeah, let's take a quick break. Yeah, we'll be right back with some more Kingdom Hearts. All right, and we're back. Before we continue with the speedrun, just one more reminder for everyone. Community Spotlight on Monday is going to be Need for Speed. So this Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, make sure you tune in. It's going to be a ton of fun. Dates for SGDQ are now up on GamestoneQuick.com. So make sure that you're checking periodically just to keep up to date with all the info that you need for GameStone Quick. And finally, all sub and bit revenue for the whole month of June is going to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. thank you everybody who is contributing to that. And now I'm going to pass it back over to you, Pazure. Whenever you're ready, count us back down.
All right, we'll go ahead and start again. So on go, we'll count down. 3, 2, 1, go. So that's pretty much the midpoint of the game as far as the speedrun goes. Warping back there allows us to pick up Dumbo, since we'll need him later on in the run to do a couple of skips. And we will go ahead and continue to Halloweentown, which is quite probably one of my worst worlds.
It's a really hard world to do in a speedrun. There's a bit of RNG in the middle. There's a kind of some RNG at the end, but then there's a lot of movement that you have to get right.
Mm-hmm.
But the movement is probably the hardest part of it to get right, because if you mess up some of the movement later on, you lose too much time. It's just cry worthy. Right, so the first thing he's going to do is going to pick up a power boost, a power up, whatever it's called in this game. It's one of them.
Power up, I believe.
Power up, there we go. So that part of the stairs that he stood on actually is slightly more risen up than the ground, so you have just enough height to ledge grab the lip outside the wall there, which gets you up to grab the power up. And then you activate the cutscene, and then we get to go back to basically where we were again. A lot of this world is going backwards and forwards between the lab and where we need to pick up some items from. So the first thing we need to get, I can't remember what it's called, but we need to go to the graveyard and
Jack
grab
in the Box.
Jack in the Box, that's it. The Forget-Me-Not's the next one. That's the one that I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm. But before that, there's a menu I need to do here. We won't keep Jack in our party, or we won't add him, but I do need to take his ethers, so let me do that.
He has 2 free ethers for us.
And I'm also going to use the power-up that we just picked up as well, which will help us down later on in the road.
Cool. Yeah, Jack is one of the less useful party members out of all of them.
Yes.
He's not very good in this game.
So this room here, it's definitely hard because it's very precise on what you need to do, but we'll see if we can get it here.
Yeah, so there is a bunch of shadows that you have to kill. And then I can't remember the name of the heartless, but there's like these ghost things, and then there's the mummy ones that appear. By standing in place here and just shooting blizzards over and over, you actually hit all of them with the spread of blizzard. And then you pick off the MP, and then you grab a couple of MP orbs to refill your MP a little bit.
I think Donald and Goofy both messed me up on that fight because the last 2 wyverns on the left and right did not die, so that's a bit unfortunate. Which is a part of the RNG we keep talking about, is just anything that can go wrong will go wrong pretty much.
Yeah, Donald and Goofy like to not be helpful.
I may have not also been standing in the correct place as well, but I'm pretty sure I saw Goofy move them out in the wrong place, but whatever. We'll continue with the next spot here. Well, apparently we picked up the Forget-Me-Not first, so we were both wrong, but now we're going to get the Jack in the Box.
Now it's the Jack in the Box.
Yes.
so technically, so I was correct.
Yes, you were correct. You're going to pick up both of them regardless.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter which one. So we're going to do another piece of precise movement here to try and skip some enemy spawns. There's a bunch of ghosts that can spawn in this room, so he's going to kill the enemies on the pillars here, and then he's going to do some precise movement on the top of the pillars, and then he's going to dodge roll towards the graveyard, and then hopefully you can activate the reaction command before the enemy spawn. That's what happened. From what I remember, from what I've heard, that was found by Mistmaster, because he got tired of fighting enemies on level 1 in that room or something, and then he just found that you can get to the reaction command before it actually. Oh, unlucky.
Yeah, I failed the minigame.
You failed the minigame.
Yeah. Also, it does not usually happen, but again,
it gave you the good RNG as well.
Yes.
It was on the very end.
I completely forgot about where the last one was. I couldn't tell if it was the second to last or the first to last, but that's okay. We'll continue on. Now that we have the 2 required pieces in order to progress the game, as far as story-wise goes, we're going to go back into the lab and go ahead and find our way up to Lock, Shock, and Barrel, which is a pretty difficult fight depending on what strat you're doing. And we'll see just how it goes here in a second. That's why we also picked up the 2 ethers there, because we're going to be using one of them in order to be at full MP, because we'll be spamming Blizzard in order to kill them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But they
Just
are
like try not
RNG,
to
so-
die this time.
Oh yeah, that's there's a clip of me, or a highlight rather, of me dying on that fight, and that's the one and only time I'm dying, which is very bizarre. I think I haven't seen anyone else die in that fashion, but it was pretty unlucky for me. But
Yeah.
it won't happen again, I promise.
Right, so he needs to use fire on this platform to get it moving. Hopefully the black fungus doesn't spawn in the next room. You know it spawned if it spawned. Yeah, you know it spawns if the command bar is the command thing is blue, because if there are enemies there, it's automatically red. So it's really nice when there's little tells like that you can tell. It's kind of the opposite of Agrabah, because in Agrabah's one, if the bar is red when you enter the room, that means the black fungus is there. If it's blue, it means they're not.
Yeah, and again, we don't necessarily know what the percentage is when they come in, or like how they come in, or what you can do to prevent it. It just happens. So
Yeah, they lose about. I think that one there loses like 15.
Yeah.
Something, because you have to wait for the platform to come back down, go back up again, then you have to go back in the other room, fire it, then it goes back up again. So yeah, this is the tower climb, known as community climbs, because one day a bunch of people from the community just jumped up and down this tower and found different movement routes for this. But yeah, we can skip basically all the way up this tower. There are many jumps that people have found. Some of them are really hard, some of them aren't as hard. But generally, as long as you don't fall down, because if you fall anywhere here, you basically have to go right down to the bottom and start all over again. As long as that doesn't happen, you're all good. Yeah, cool. So this fight, he's gonna try and blizzard these guys. He's gonna try and get them in like a little group and just spam blizzard on them. And then halfway through, he'll throw. Dude in red is going ham on you.
Yeah, and again, they were not playing nice.
Yeah.
I might actually die here.
Yo, don't die.
Okay, we're fine. We're fine.
Yo, Barrel was going ham, dude.
Yeah, that again, probably one of the worst fights in mid game if you're not. Really
if it goes really
it.
well and you nail the first blizzard on them, they can't move, so you easily dispatch of them. Alright, so after this cutscene, you have to hit the lever, but by the side of them before moving on. The classic mistake is forgetting to hit the lever. I may have done that once or twice.
Yeah, because if you don't hit the lever, you can't enter the room. I just entered in now. So this is Oogie 1. Probably the hardest fight in mid game, at least for me. But it's to get dice reflect rather to get a skip in the game.
Yeah, so this fight can be done in 2 cycles on beginner because of how much damage you can do, because of obviously the power-ups at the start of the run. So after killing these enemies, he'll light up some panels. You basically have to lock him in place, and then you can combo him. Generally, you don't want Donald and Goofy with you because they add to his hit counter, which is what happened there. So Goofy took away a couple of hits, but it's fine. You can make it up with a few fires. After this, he'll throw some dice. He'll throw some explosive ones, and then he'll throw some normal ones. You want to hit them. You want to hit them back at him. You didn't get the last one there.
Yeah.
But if you hit them back at him, you skip whatever attack that he goes for here. There are some longer attacks, there are some shorter ones. From what I recall, this one isn't the worst one. The worst one you can get is when he summons the buzzsaw, because that one just takes forever to go through. The quickest one is when he summons the Heartless. So this should be fine.
Okay, that was a bit weird. He didn't.
Yeah, you had to do a fire on him. Yeah, that fire was like, nah, dude.
Yeah, so, I've actually never seen that, but yeah, that fight can be a bit troublesome for new runners, and it still gives me troubles, obviously.
The reason why was that the final finisher didn't kill is because Goofy stole a hit from him on the first cycle, which is why you generally don't want Donald and Goofy with you. Goofy isn't as bad because of Goofy's like physical attack, but Donald will stand at the back and shoot magic, which Oogie's resistant to. So Right, so now we get to destroy the pimples that have appeared on Oogie Tower.
Yeah, he has a very bad acne problem, so we have to help him out here.
Very bad. We're actually helping him out here. Right, so just do a couple of air combos on this, and then each of them die. So if you get lucky with that one, you actually hit the fireball back into it at the right time and just get a bit of extra damage.
Donald and Goofy can mess you up here on that platform. Sometimes they just will not allow you to get up, and you'll have to go all the way around.
Yep. And there's like 3 more left now. Cool. There's another bit of movement tech coming up as well, which again, Mist found.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you didn't even.
I'm not doing that because I just have the hardest time doing that.
Yeah, your dodge roll kind of messed you up there. But what you can do is, instead of going to the little platform behind the top bit of I nearly called it road, but the top row of planks, you can jump to the side of it and grab the ledge. That's called Mist Jump, because Mist found it. And again, we're very, very creative with our names and stuff.
Yeah.
Jump, Mist Jump.
But that's pretty much Halloweentown. We get the next Keyblade that we'll put on in the next world called Pumpkinhead. We'll get that put on once we get Neverland. And Neverland is actually, like I was stating earlier, a missable world. So we may or may not get it first try. Hopefully we do get it first try, but we'll just have to see if the game plays nicely.
I believe it becomes non-missable if like you complete Atlantica first. But technically Atlantica is like if you complete both Halloweentown and Atlantica, I believe it becomes like non-missable because it's the only one you haven't done. But if you only have done one of them, it's a missable trigger event thing. So the main reason why we actually do Halloweentown is because we get gravity from Halloweentown, and gravity is really, really useful later on. I believe with the clip out in Atlantica's potentially might be slightly faster than Halloweentown, but it's just slower overall because we don't get the gravity spell. And gravity really, really helps us with the endgame Keyblade that we use because the strength stat on it isn't the highest, and magic becomes our source of power.
Our crutch.
Yeah, the crutch of everything.
Yeah, magic is very strong in this run.
Yeah.
But here's the part where we can miss Neverland, or formerly known as Hook Ship.
Hook Ship.
So we'll let you guys know if we miss it or not. Yeah.
Happy Hook Ship.
Alright, so it's coming up here.
Yeah, if the next bit of the gummy mission just disappears, it means we got it.
And we missed it.
Oh, we missed it! Yo, nice. That's like it is like a 30% chance to miss it, so it's actually kind of high to miss it. So if you miss it, you have to go all the way to Atlantica. So we get to say hi to the world of Atlantica. We don't go in Atlantica, but we get to say hi. And then we have to go back through the gummy to try and do it. The main reason why we don't quit out before is because getting to the Neverland trigger from Atlantica is actually faster than the one from Halloweentown.
Yeah.
So it's better to just take an extra bit of time loss there to go to Atlantica to get a shorter gummy to redo the attempts. I believe the world record for missing Hook Ship in speedruns is like 7 times.
That happened to me. Yeah, 7 times.
Yeah.
But we got it this time. 7. Yeah, we got it this time. But yeah, that really is nothing you can do. It's just completely out of your control whether you miss it or not. So you just have to hope the game plays nice and gives it to you.
Yeah.
But Neverland, I actually like playing Neverland. It's fun. It's a lot of intense strats that you have to do in a big menu that's coming up here.
Yeah, actually, probably one of the more important menus because you set up your AI's like behaviors in this menu for some of the fights. Oh god, you got Sora watted.
Yeah, there's a meme in the community where if you don't skip that face fast enough, you just get his face, Sora's face, which is kind of bad, but oh well.
It's like a second. So the whole reason Yeah, so he was trying to shoot magic while jumping down the hole because it stops you from ledge grabbing. And from it, he got auto targeted.
there's some movement tech that you can do to make that go faster, but I failed both of those.
Yeah. There's like multiple ways to get into that room. You can actually jump up and clank on the little hole, or you can jump up and cure. And because your Keyblade goes above the loading zone, it triggers it because that's how this game likes to work.
Yeah.
Because it pushes you up slightly because he goes heal and like shoves his entire hitbox up. So yeah, we get to use a green Trinity now. It's like the only use.
Yeah. Now we're going to do Anteye Surah. So
Anteye Surah. Yep.
Not very friendly fight, but we'll try to make it work out here.
Yeah. So there's actually a number of strats that you can do here, but the main idea of it is to loop him through his second phase. So this first phase here, he's just going to kind of hit him a bunch of times, and then eventually he'll retaliate, and then he'll deliberately get a hit, wait for the whiff, and then just start trying to go ham on him again. He didn't get the stun on him then. You're trying to keep him stunned so he doesn't move around, and Donald and Goofy kind of push him around everywhere, which makes it quite horrible. He does kill them really easily though, which is really, really nice. So, and this room is incredibly easy to whiff in as well. Right, so when he gets far enough through his HP bar, he starts like auto retaliating after 4 hits, and then you can loop him by hitting him before he does anything. So right here, he couldn't get past him, which is fine. If you miss it, he summons some clones of himself, and then you have to find the real one. But the real one is always the one with the HP buff. And then he just tries to get him back into loop again.
Yeah, this fight, very terrible fight.
Yep. And yep, missed it. Like trying to get the swing timing actually is really, really tight. It looks a lot easier than it is, but it's actually one of the harder things. If you kill him on the other side of the room by where the actual exit door is, if you hang by the door and like dodge roll into it as like the game goes in slow motion, it actually fades out the fight slightly quicker sometimes, which is very useful. Right, so now he's going to put on some an air combo plus and some other abilities on Goofy and Donald.
Oh goodness.
Yep, he makes sure that he puts cheer on Goofy for the extra summon gauge, and he puts on stop, and then he changes Goofy's support actions to constantly, and then he changes Peter Pan's MP items to immediately.
Yeah, that menu is pretty tough.
That entire setup on the menus is basically to make one strat work in terms of Peter Pan stuff, because otherwise the next boss fight with Captain Hook is kind of really, really annoying to get right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you set your menu up in that way, then it becomes a lot easier.
And I didn't even put on Peter Pan, so it doesn't matter. So.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, he helps out with the MP usage, but we just try to make it work. I was just going too fast on that menu.
It's fine. I'm not sure
pretty much
will do as much damage either because you haven't got Peter Pan's cheer.
Yeah, pretty much the menu I just did for Peter Pan was not necessary because he's not even going to be
null
in the fight.
Voided.
So. Yeah,
null
but
and voided.
We use the simplest summon here to clear these waves out and prep for the next boss fight.
And then the boat's the only thing that takes no damage, and you just have to pick off the boat. The only issue with having Donald here is because you have stop, Donald can just like stop the boat, and just it takes forever for him to come out of it because Donald has quite like a lot of MP for this point in the game. So he's just going to use stop on Hook and just combo him because stop works on bosses. And if we had Peter Pan has some ethers that he can use, but because Peter Pan is not in the party, we just kind of have to play this fight out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hook has like a few attacks he can do. He can stab at you. He has this attack here where he goes like crazy and just starts swinging everywhere. You got flung there, dude.
Yeah, this fight is definitely not going well.
Yeah. And as long as you don't knock him off the boat, it's fine. Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, let's just... yeah, that was all my fault. I didn't have Peter Pan in, so...
It's fine, don't worry about it. It's fine. So the strat there, if you have Peter Pan, is you can just do full air combos and then do stops afterwards. And I think it's 8. It's after 8. He basically just automatically dies after 8 stops. If I'm remembering correctly,
It's either 7 or 8. Yeah,
it's 7 or 8. It's one of them.
there's been a lot of work put into that fight. I remember Bloody Biscuits did many years ago. He spent days and days on that fight with emulator trying to get it right.
I remember when I learned this run, the strat was glide at him and just hit him until he dies.
Yeah.
We're just throwing stops every now and then.
Yeah, this run has definitely evolved the past couple of years in its entirety. It's just everything has been changed ever since the game first came out on PS3. I believe that was 5 years ago.
2013, I think. JP got it maybe.
Yeah,
I don't remember the exact release dates, but it's been quite a number of years.
Mm-hmm. And then there's this next menu here I have to do.
Yep. So this is where he puts on his new Keyblade. He puts on Fairy Harp. He puts on Guard, Ars Arcanum, and Glide. Glide is useful for a bit of movement. He puts on Ars because Ars is one of the most broken abilities in the game, and he puts on Guard for literally a couple of uses of Guard, because there are a couple of places where Guard is actually useful. Other than that, KH1's Guard is pretty abysmal. It's actually more worth your time to parry attacks because you're with air hits, because your landing animation is shorter than the Guard one. Because we also don't put on counter guard either, which is the attack you can get if you guard something.
Right.
So
So
we pick up Dumbo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick up that Dumbo, and Dumbo is used in Hollow Bastion for some cool movement that we can do that skips quite a lot of Hollow Bastion stuff actually. And it also basically skips one of the best Keyblades in the game outside of Ultimate Weapon. But we don't need it, so rip Divine Rose.
Yeah, I mean that Keyblade is definitely very useful for endgame fights, but again, like you said, we don't use it, so
yeah. Right, so now there's actually some kind of specific movement you got to do here to stop enemies from spawning underneath you in this alleyway, because if they spawn, then you can't get the wave of enemies to spawn up the top that we're trying to get to spawn. If your menu doesn't turn blue here, these all won't spawn out at the same time, and they'll spawn in like groups. But hopefully, yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
I got an extra ether drop out of that too,
and the bonus ether. So if you get lucky with that fight, you can end everything in one Rs without even using any of the bashes or the finisher, because they all just clump in towards you sometimes. So now we get to beat up guard armor for a bit again after pulling the rope three times to move the move around the fountain to reveal the keyhole.
And this fight unlocks the opposite armor fight, which we were supposed to do many worlds ago, but we just do it now because it's faster.
Yeah, that's why it's optional armor, because it's optional when you want to do it.
Yeah.
You have to do it. But it's just optional when you want to do it. Alright, so if you just destroy the arm here, the entire body just falls down. You only got to kill one part of it, and then he'll throw an ether to make sure he has max MP, and then he'll hit the body a couple of times to try and get a bit of his yellow bar back. So at the start of this fight, opposite armor's just going to attack you. You're just going to guard it and then go straight into an Rs, and that takes out the arm straight away. Go for a couple of combos, and then he'll dash back for attack again, and then you can kill that arm by doing the same thing. So that takes out both of the legs instantly, and then he flew through his phases there.
Yeah. Depending on how the fight goes, you can definitely go through the phases pretty fast. But I mean, it started off great, the fight, and then the fight didn't go that well, but
yeah. Fun fact, as soon as the screen starts moving here, you can skip the cutscene.
But yeah, now we technically completed Travis Town 2.
Yep. Technically.
Yeah.
On our third visit.
Yes.
Yeah, we visit Travis Town in the speedrun 4 times. So yeah. This bit here actually unlocks the last line of gummy ship things, the last line on the world map, which unlocks the final 2 worlds. And then we get to go to Hollow Bastion, which is actually probably my favorite world in the run in terms of how many boss fights you get to do.
Yeah, the end game is my favorite section of the entire game. It's just a massive boss rush, and
Yeah.
it's fun, honestly.
Yeah.
So we have another gummy ship edit to do. Hopefully it won't be
Oh,
as
here
bad
we
as
go,
last
boys.
time.
Here we go, lads. It's time.
I only have to put one thing on this time, so...
Yeah. Let's see if you can put the one gummy ship piece on. He has to put on the Flare G, which we just picked up in Neverland.
Alright, that was way better than last time. I did not
Dude,
put
you
on
got
a
it.
weapon, though, so I will have to do that next time.
Yeah.
When I
The
pick
weapon
up,
makes the final gummy mission actually a little bit safer.
Yeah. I mean, I can do it without the weapon, but this run has already just been a lot of mistakes, so I'm just going to play it as safe as possible.
It's been a wild run, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, we warp to Neverland, and then we take this second to last gummy ship path, well, third to last gummy ship path to Hollow Bastion, which is pretty important to this game and to future games as well. We'll be landing here and getting a lot of basically a lore dump.
Yeah, the lore dump.
Yeah.
This is like probably the longest world in the longest world in the speedrun, because we have to come here like twice, and we spend a lot of time here in the first visit, and then the second visit is at least like a good 10 minutes long, especially with the unskippable cutscene afterwards.
Yes,
as well. So we spend a lot of time in this world, and it's just a lot of bosses that we have to go through.
A lot of my favorite strats are in Hollow Bastion 1, like the Dragon fight and Riku 2. They're really fun to do.
Yeah. Dude, itemless drag them out? No?
No, not the way that this run is going, no. I've already butchered enough. I don't think I want to butcher anything else if I don't have to.
Nah, that's fair. That's very fair.
But yeah, we're landing in Hollow Bastion 1. It's pretty straightforward. We're going to be dumped here, and then again there's a lore dump. There's a lot of things that are going to be going on here. We're going to lose Donald and Goofy for the first part of it, and it's just going to be movement that we have to do.
I mean, you go back to the classic, we get the wooden sword again.
Yes.
we get the wooden sword, but we can still use our magic, so you know.
Yeah, that'll be useful here. That'll be useful here in a second once we get up to where we need to go.
Yep.
But the movement here is sick, honestly. I think it's very precise to get this and not mess this up, which I didn't think of. But yeah,
it's actually the platforms run like a cycle, so you have to make sure you get there in time.
And at this
one
point,
here is less important because you can grab the you can grab the archway to get up as well, which is useful.
Yeah. And at this point, we lose Donald and Goofy. We just have Beast in our party and no Keyblade. And if I'm fast enough, I can hotkey Gravity, which I will need to do here in a second.
Yep.
Alright, I got it. That's good.
Oh, nice.
That's the first good thing to happen in this run.
Yeah. So the best part about this world is you go up the elevator to just jump back down again because you end up at a different part. This is another world where like the entire thing is just a huge maze, and most of the speedrun learning is just knowing where to go. So once you know where to go in this game, this game's runtime just kind of just slashes in half when you know where to go.
Yeah, a lot of the learning, like Rebel just said, if you haven't played the game casually, which I highly recommend before running, you're not gonna know where to go, and especially with this part here. You have to do these switches in specific order, and you can spend so much time just not knowing where to go, and hitting multiple switches loses you time. But we need to come down here in order to unlock the front gate.
We need to unlock the front doors,
Yeah. And there's a cool little trick here that we can do. Since, again, magic is overpowered, we can just use a gravity on this defender here that pops up, and then just spam triangle and have Beast do the rest of the work.
Yeah, Goofy is a beast, dude.
Yes, they're one and the same.
Yeah, Goofy gets way better, like in terms of his abilities from this point on, but Beast is also fairly strong.
Especially in Bastion too.
Yeah. Oh, no defender drop.
Yeah. I actually have never gotten that in a run, but there's a chance you can get an item drop for his shield for Goofy there.
Which gives Goofy 1 MP, which actually is very useful. Because it means that Goofy at this point, basically towards the end of the game, we use him as basically an MP machine. So having more MP on Goofy is worth. But you can't rely on the defender drop because it's like too low a percentage to get one.
Yeah, for the earlier menus that I did, I put on MP gifts for ability for a Goofy. So whenever I'm below like a certain threshold, I think it's either 1 or 2. I think it's 1 MP. He will give me 3 MP in order to make sure I can do my combos, Ars Arcanum combos in Magic and things like that, which is a very useful ability.
Yep. So get to spam R's and Goofy just keeps giving us back the MP.
Yes.
So he goes back into the corner there to despawn the Dark Balls because it's way slower to fight them. Even with Beast being as good as he is, the Dark Balls are just not okay to fight. So yeah, we just kind of despawn them and then go back through. And now we get to the first boss fight in this, which is Riku 1. So Riku's actually immune to magic, but luckily we have Ars Arcanum now. And Ars Arcanum is really good. We saw it on opposite armor, but now we get to use it on a boss. So generally, the way this fight works is he's got a 3-hit counter. So after every 3 hits, he'll do an auto counter. It's kind of random which one he decides to do. He'll either do a spin, or he'll do a slash, or he'll like jump away. You basically want to get him into a corner here, and then just use Rs on him. And then you pick him off afterwards.
Yeah, Goofy usually helps out with the tornado, but he got hit out of it twice.
Yeah. If Goofy uses tornado and actually gets out, he can't do his counter because he gets stunned by Goofy too hard. But it's pretty hard for Goofy to do it sometimes because Riku seems to have just more priority than a move that costs MP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that fight can go a lot of different ways, but I think that was a pretty good fight on my part.
Yeah, that was solid. Because usually it's like 2 R's and a couple of hits if a Goofy doesn't get his tornado out. If Goofy gets like both his tornadoes out at the right time, it's like an R's and a half and Riku dies. Because it's just the damage stacking on top of each other. Cool, so this entire library is full of puzzles where we have to move books around. We have to move 2 books.
Yeah, in order to progress, I mean, there's only really 2 books you have to really worry about. There's other secrets and items and chests that you can pick up, but they're not useful for the run here. So we just grab these 2 books, hit this chest.
From what I remember, most of them are gummy pieces. There is an elixir in this room that you can get as well by spinning around one of the spinny things in one of the pillars downstairs, but it just isn't worth it to grab it.
Right.
Alright, so there's a few puzzles you got to do here. You have to light all the candles and hit those pots and move a statue or 2 and do a few things to spawn these emblem pieces. And this unlocks the emblem door at the back of the room. So you can technically skip to the area outside that the emblem door leads to by using Dumbo. But if you don't do this set of puzzles and watch the cutscene that comes afterwards, the game doesn't let you progress. Because the way this game kind of works with how it lets you progress through a lot of the worlds is there are like cutscene trigger things within the game to basically flag, oh, they are at this point, they may proceed past this point. So a lot of the times in KH games, we do things to watch cutscenes in order to progress with the game, even if we could potentially get somewhere via movement. So this is one of those cases where technically we could move on without doing this entire set of puzzles, but we need to watch a cutscene. Cool, and then once he's got all the emblem pieces, he just goes to the door at the back and then just shoves them all into the door.
Yeah, and
then,
this will force a cutscene. And after the cutscene, there's some specific movement I need to do in order to grab this this gummy piece that's going to help us go even faster later on.
The Haste 2G.
Yes,
From what I recall, it was pioneered by our boy DJ himself on level 1.
Oh yeah, he's found a lot of crazy stuff.
He did a lot of the timing for a lot of the stuff in like this game, and he found that Haste 2G was just straight faster. Even though we're picking up a gummy piece probably like half an hour towards the end of the run, it's still faster to pick it up even at this point in the run, which is a test to how speedy this gummy piece is.
Yeah, and I got the instant blue menu, which is very
and
very
the instant
good.
blue menu, yeah. Like, he did the gravity and the fires to kill one of the wyverns, but then also he used the stop to make sure they don't follow him. They can still follow you if you get unlucky. But that despawn setup is way better than what we used to do before the Haste 2G was a thing. Like, the old Hollow Bastion despawns were just absolutely horrible to deal with.
Yeah, I don't even remember how to do them. That's how bad
they were. Absolutely horrible.
Well, yeah, there's been a lot of hands in this game, and the community has done a lot with this as far as like finding the best ways to do things and make things go faster. So it's a very, very huge community and not just this game, but like multiple Kingdom Hearts
Every
games.
KH game has
had pretty much
has had people putting time into it across like many years of each of the games. So these wizards take one full combo to kill. If you get unlucky, they might do their lightning move, or Donald will go stop, or do something dumb with them.
Like disappear. Yeah, sometimes they just disappear.
Yeah. So there's another Trinity. That's the word I was looking for. Trinity that we grab here because it gives us 2 cottages and a mega elixir.
Mm-hmm.
A cottage is basically just a mega elixir, but that we can use from the menu. And we need a couple of them for later on in the game, because we need full heals in the final world in a couple of places to make sure we have enough MP in order to deal with the fights. Also, another good thing about that Trinity is it gives us a bunch of MP orbs as well, which helps us with making sure we have enough MP.
That ether I popped isn't necessary, but it's good to have for the next fight coming up.
Yeah, you just happen to have an extra one, which is good. So coming up is Dumbo Skip. This is a trick that was done way like years ago on like level 1, and it was only picked up and put into beginner like 2014, 2015-ish time, around that time. Because we use it to skip going and opening going and doing a puzzle that lowers down a platform on the other side of the walls around here. So we just use Dumbo to jump up there and grab the ledge. Also, using Dumbo allows us to basically skip going into the castle on the second visit of Hollow Bastion, and then we do that same trick again later on in the run to get up to the same platform again. So that's why we have to skip Divine Rose now, because we don't go into the castle to get it. And also, there's an unskippable cutscene before it, which means why it's slower. So the end of this run is done with the Keyblade we get, like, not too far from here. So cool, Maleficent. Maleficent is a fight where if you do a finisher on her and kind of stun her at any point, she kind of gets a bit janked up on her AI. So you do 1 R's without the finisher, then you do 3 hit air combos, and then when she's in the last HP bar, you just finish her off with an R's. That fight's really like simple, but it's really cool how you can stop her from doing things by just not doing a finisher on, like, at all throughout the fight. It is one of the instances where doing finishers in KH games is actually worse than just hitting things.
Mm-hmm. Here's a really important fight.
Oh yeah, here comes Dragon Maleficent. So Dragon Maleficent is another instance where we can use Stop on a boss. Stop actually affects the Maleficent before, but it's a waste of MP to use it. But this fight is basically Dragon Maleficent is actually one of the scariest fights, even on beginner. She does a lot of damage to you, so we basically stop her from doing anything by using Stop and doing specific combos in between the stops. So if we stop ahead here, we can then do a chain of a 4-air combo, 1 hit, and then into Stop. And then we can keep doing this until the fight ends. When he runs out of MP, he's going to use an item just to restore his MP again. And then she should die. So he actually delays his hits there just a tad, because if you start going ham with your attacks and stops instantly, she actually breaks out of the stop combo during one of her last HP bars, then she just starts going ham. So this should be the end of the fight now, and she should just die as soon as she comes out. So
yeah, you can't.
That was a really good fight, yeah.
Yeah, you can't keep her stopped like forever. You have to let her break out once, otherwise the fight is ruined. So that was a perfect fight, pretty much.
That was, yeah.
I mean, it could have been faster if I did itemless, but again, I wasn't gonna go for that.
Itemless is actually probably one of the hardest strats in the run if you do it. The only reason you would ever do it is if you were
going for record,
going for record or like the top level times, or you needed to save an item. Other than that, that strat is actually rather fun and actually like one of the cooler strats. So now we get to Riku 2, which is one of my favorite fights in this run. Like Riku 2 is really cool. So this is a fight where it's just you versus Riku. It's a one-on-one fight. So the first phase here, he's going to do a one hit into ours, and then keep looping that until he gets into a second phase where he powers up. And then there is a loop that we can do on this guy, because unlike Riku 1, this version of Riku, his retaliation move is always the spin. So basically, if we then time our combos after each of the spin attacks, we can then loop him into doing the same attack over and over and over again. So basically, he has to wait for him to do a specific move here, or stun him like that. Then he's going to go for one hit, then a full combo, and then the finisher of the ground combo will actually cause him to do his retaliation. And then by timing your hit specifically after the attack's gone off, you stun him. And if you get this right the entire time, you can loop him for the entire fight. If you get any of that wrong, he DMs instantly. And this is kind of the first instance of a DM. It's a desperation move. It's kind of a boss's super attack where they go invincible and start attacking you. This is kind of the first boss where we have like an active DM skip, because we can let him get to that point. A lot of the earlier bosses that have them, we kill them before they even get a chance to think about doing it. But that guy can easily just lose you 10 to 15 seconds for free by just you mistiming one hit. So that was good for ground combos, yeah.
Yeah, the top level runners go for air combos, and that makes the fight quite a bit faster, but I definitely haven't had. I definitely have not practiced that, and I didn't want to mess it up or anything, so I just went for the tried and true ground combos. But now at this point in the game, you're turned into a shadow, and you have to go back and meet up with Kairi, Goofy, and Donald again in order to get restored. And this concludes HB1, so that'll be the first. Face. Yeah, that'll be the first part of an end game we just finished, which is good.
Yep, cool. So now we're done with moving around as a shadow in a second to better get bonkless.
Yeah, another community thing here is to try and skip the cutscene before Donald bonks you on the head, and we'll see if I can get it here.
Yeah.
I think Hobbs came up with this.
This basically makes or breaks the run.
I got it. Okay.
Oh yeah. You had the concentration face on there.
Yeah.
You were like, I gotta get this. I'm a scrub if I miss it.
Yeah. Again, especially with top level runners, skipping cutscenes early as you can is good. So.
Yeah. All right. So now we're in Traverse Town 4. Hooray! So now we're gonna do a bit more save warping to get around this world a little bit, instead of going and doing the Trinties or anything like that. Just save warping is way better.
Yeah, save warping is like one of the big time saves for PS4 over PS3, because you save a lot of time doing all this. This one specifically, I heard only saves like 2 seconds from doing the Red Trinities, so
yeah,
you have to get it pretty precise here.
It's still better than trying to go for the despawn movement for the Red Trinity on English, though.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. The despawn movement is actually pretty specific, and if you mess it up, you lose time. So we're just going to go talk to Merlin instead, and Merlin lets us go down to the cavern. Just make sure you don't click on practice music. Music magic. I can't talk.
All right, so Kyrie is going to give us Oathkeeper, which is
Yep.
the last Keyblade that we'll be putting on for the end game, pretty much.
Yep. So this is the strongest magic-based Keyblade that we get just from playing the story. Technically, there are better ones we could go get, but it's worthless in going back to Wonderland and trying to get Lady Luck or anything like that to try and do endgame. It's better to just grab Oathkeeper and go. Avoid the chest with the pups in there.
Oh, yes. So we go back to the accessory shop again and talk to Sid one more time, and I have to remember to put on Haste 2G and not mess up the
entire thing.
Yes.
You nearly went back into the accessory shop as well.
Yes. The camera, and I guess we didn't go over this in the beginning in the run, but there's 2 different camera modes that you can use. And some people play on auto, I play on manual, so like all the camera movement I have to do manually. So sometimes if you're not paying attention, you can definitely go out of go to places that you shouldn't be going to.
Yeah, some of the camera angles can be really, really like annoying as well. Auto mode, if you get used to it, can be better for some rooms, but manual I find is better for a majority of the game.
Oh, you know what? Just for
Gun?
safety. Yeah.
Dude, the double edit, let's go. And then you went straight past the gun.
Did I? Oh, goodness gracious. All right, yeah, I did that twice.
3 times you did it.
Normally you don't put on the gun there, that's why I was a little bit confused, but yeah, here we go. I put that on for safety because I don't want to die in the gummy ship missions, which is really possible in these last 2 gummy ship missions that we have to do.
Yeah, so now Tissue Box has got some extensions.
Yes.
So, fun fact, we don't have to play this entire gummy mission. We just have to get to a certain point in it, and then we can quit. This was, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure this was found by Spike Vegeta on like original KH1 on the PS2 because he accidentally died after the point in the gummy mission where the line gets completed. Because on the originals, you couldn't quit out of gummy missions; you had to die to quit them. But luckily on FM and the other versions, you can just quit out. So when we get to the correct point of this gummy mission, it's after this segment and the next loading screen. A set of 2 purple panels will appear. As soon as they appear, or just before it, you can quit out the gummy mission, and then it actually spawns in the line for Hollow Bastion for you without you having to go through the whole thing, and then you can just walk straight there. So yeah, cool. So also he's timing his dashes for like specific points, because if you do them during these segments where the game's loading the other parts of it, you don't save any time, because obviously you're dashing through a loading screen, basically. So it won't save any time. So he's using it at like specific points to try and get through.
So here's another big menu I have to do really quickly here.
Yeah.
Normally I would do this later on in the run, but I'm just going to do it now.
It doesn't matter when you do this next menu. You just have to do it before you get to the next fight. Yeah, we take Beast because Beast is very, very useful here. We put on Oathkeeper for the extra MP. Jump on Leaf Bracer and some other stuff for the other characters. Dude, there's our MP gift for our boy.
Alright, that is pretty good.
Yeah, that's us set up for the end game.
For some reason, I thought you put on an MP gift way earlier than that. My apologies.
You don't have it until Dragon Mail, from what I remember.
Oh yeah, that's correct.
I don't remember every single level up ability for characters, but I remember like what fights you get most abilities from in terms of level up. Because unlike the other KH games, we haven't mentioned it, but this is the only KH game where bosses give you EXP. So that's the reason why we don't have to fight enemies or anything, because the bosses give us all the EXP we need. They changed it in all the other KH games so that bosses don't give you anything. Bosses in Recon give you EXP, and Com give you EXP, but those two are the only 2 games that do it. So yeah, it actually helps us quite a lot because we don't have to kill enemies or worry about that. We grab all our level ups from from the bosses. So he's edging towards the edge there without going too far to the left, because there are enemies that will spawn in the area to the left if you go too far. So you have to land on like the very edge of the platform and make sure that you don't go anywhere near the middle. So now we get to sit on the elevator again.
Yeah, that second Dumbo Skip is pretty scary, honestly.
That's my least favorite one. That's the one I
Yes.
usually messed up the most. I hate Dumbo too. Hate it. I lost a minute to it in my PS3 PB, I think, from what I recall.
It is very scary, and it's very precise too, because that red nocturne could have hit me out in the air and I could have fell down, so it's very, very huge time loss potential there.
Yeah.
Goofy's not.
Goofy
Beast
and Beast
is not
aren't.
being,
Beast is
very
not
helpful.
being kind. So the reason why you bring Beast is because you want Beast to do Furious Howl or whatever it's called. Ferocious Howl, that's it. And if he does Ferocious Howl while all the enemies are clumped together right at the start, they just all die immediately. So he doesn't always do it, but when he does do it, it's pretty hype.
He usually does it at the start. A perfect fight would be him doing it at the start of the fight and everything just dies, which is perfect. But, you know, that doesn't happen all the time, so. We're going back the way we came from H3-1. We're going back to where we killed Riku 2 in order to do Behemoth 1, which will allow us to seal the keyhole for this world here.
Yeah, we have to do the first Dumbo Skip he did again, because we didn't open up the correct pathway, because we skipped it the first time, obviously, by doing the Dumbo Skip. So we have to quickly do this one again. This one's called Dumbo 3, even though it's it's like the same one again.
Thing as Dumbo 1, yeah.
Yeah. But the reason why we call it Dumbo 3 is because there are different enemies that spawn here, and they have different ways of screwing with you. So, that's always fun. Wyverns are still there. Wyverns are the worst part, because if you take too long, like, getting off a Dumbo, do you see that one attacked him?
Yeah.
They can attack you while you're on the ledge, and they will body you completely.
Luckily, that one hit me as I was already on the ledge, and I didn't take damage from it, which is good.
It doesn't matter, because you step on the save point anyway.
Yeah. So, Behemoth 1 is coming up. I would say it's a pretty straightforward fight, but it can be messed up completely if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. So this is probably the hardest version of the Behemoth, because you have to get on his back and use R's on his horn. This one, because he's considered a boss, Heartless, is immune to a lot of magic, so bringing Beast is also useful here because he actually does more damage to him. The ones that appear later are more susceptible to magic, so we use magic on them a lot more, so you get to use gravity on the later Behemoths. So if everything goes right here, you basically get this guy down in just a few attacks. You're having a bit of issues get him back on. It doesn't matter because he has to go through this entire thing anyway before you can really do it. Right.
Okay.
So he'll do this attack here where he charges up, and hopefully you get him down towards. Yeah, you skipped it. That's nice. Then after this, he will jump away from you. You want to make sure you're stood on his back when he jumps away from you. The jump actually does damage to you, but because we have Leaf Bracer on, you can actually heal through it, so you don't really get any stun back. Oh, he didn't do the jump, he did the charge up.
Yeah, if he faces to the side there, he won't jump.
Yeah.
But that fight can be done in 2 cycles, not 3. I just messed up the first part.
Yeah.
But... So here is after this text cutscene, it'll be the second unskippable cutscene in the game. We just have to sit there and watch it for some reason.
Dude, it's plot important.
Yes.
It's the most important cutscene in the entire game.
Yes. And on the Xbox version, they also can't skip it as well, even though you can skip the first 3-minute cutscene in the game. So
yeah, they didn't give them that much of a courtesy boost. Unlike the first cutscene, this one's only like a minute or so. This one's not as long as the opening one.
We'll never meet again, but we'll never forget.
So this cutscene will seal the keyhole, and then talk to the princesses of Heart afterwards, and then be on our way towards the last world in the game after we have our discussion here with all our friends.
Yep. The classic Kingdom Hearts, my friends are my power.
Yes. That's pretty much the theme throughout the entire series, and even all the way up to Gauge 3. So
I mean, it's definitely in Cage 3 because you use Mike Wazowski as a bowling ball.
Yes.
My friends and my power
Yes.
lobs them at people.
Yeah, that's definitely a very interesting speedrun as well. I haven't I haven't done it at all. I've played the game, but that is a different speedrun as compared to this one. It's very
every single KH game is a kind of completely different run in terms of what you do and how you go fast. Which makes a lot of the games in the series actually interesting, like from each other, because they're all different, but they all share like some few base mechanics. But in terms of like the strats, all the games are like pretty different in what you do. Unless we can talk to the princesses.
And I have to we get the Fire Aga upgrade there, and then we can do this last menu here before we leave out in the world.
Then we get to progress towards the lovely end of the world.
Which is
get rid of the ray of light.
Yes, honestly, my favorite world in the entire game. I love the last level, well, last world. It's nice. This gummy ship mission here is very hard to do without the weapon, which is why I put it on for safety. I messed up my boost there, but it's definitely, you can definitely get hit and have to restart the whole mission if you do not put a weapon on. But you can see here with Haste 2G and Haste G and the Fire G, we are going pretty fast here.
And that Flare G adding... I'm pretty sure the speed caps if you just got the Flare G on, but the Haste 2G is just actually broken. Like, the Haste 2G is like our boy Mr. Speed. Like, it just goes.
We did say earlier that the tissue box with the one Fire G on there is the fastest until, you know, we got these three pieces on. And they exponentially make the later gummy ship missions go pretty fast. But this is the last gummy ship mission in the game that we're doing anyway, so this will be the last time we see that.
Bye bye, Mr. Tissue Box.
All right, so End of the World is again my favorite. It's definitely hard to complete, but you have a few force fights here if Rebel wants to explain what's going on.
Yeah, so this is where we get introduced to Invisibles, and Invisibles are lovely Heartless that love to just really have strong attacks. They have a desperation move that they can do, but they are very, very susceptible to gravity, which makes them easier to take out. So generally we use our magic to kill these guys because our physical hits are nowhere near as strong as our magic. So we're just going to keep using that, and usually we use fire to pick them off if we need to. But also on this bit you need to save a bit of MP for some of the later fights. Yeah, because you got hit at the start there, the entire fight just got messed up.
Yeah, there's definitely ways to make the fight a bit faster there, and I should have used the RS after the first gravity. I was afraid to for some reason, but nevertheless, we'll keep it moving and go into the Angel Stars fight.
Yep. Shout out to the fact that these rocks on the floor are just arrows to where you need to go.
Yeah, very weird design choice there, but
cool. So there are 3 Angel Stars here. We need to kill them fairly quickly because if you leave them for too long, they start cloning themselves, and obviously the more they clone themselves, the more you have to deal with. So he's just gonna try and hit them before they do anything else. Cool. That was a pretty solid fight there. So you just kind of stand in place, like swinging around using gravity, until there are enough HP so that 1 or 2 swings will kill. Cool. There's another elixir he picks up. And he stood by the chest after the fight ended to spawn by the chest, otherwise you have to move towards it again. Cool, this is when he uses one of his cottages. There is an extra cottage in one of the chests along the road there, which you can grab if you need it. But you don't tend to need it unless you have to waste a cottage earlier. So now this is another behemoth fight. This one's actually affected by magic, so we're just going to use some gravities on him, and gravity completely destroys him. So each gravity does like half a raw damage to him. It's pretty good. Probably actually more of a third, half to over exaggerating. But after you've done a few, he'll do this attack here. You get on his back and then just use some Mars, and then you'll kill him before he gets back up again.
oh, holy moly, we got the Omega Arch drop.
Oh, did you get the? Oh, hell yes, dude.
So no, in previous routes that's good, but it's useless now. I don't think it's
useless. You can put it on Goofy if you want. Like,
yeah. we'll do that. We'll put it on Goofy and keep it moving, but I'll actually do that in this menu because I don't want that messing up my other menus.
Yes, no, that's fair. Because we put Ray of Light back on here for the extra MP. Because it helps with making sure that Simba does more damage, and we have more
magic to do
magic.
Simba strat.
Yeah, to do the Simba strat, and also for the Atlantica portal.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So now Goofy has that sweet Omega Routes. Sadly, we didn't get the Defender drop or the Wizard's Relic.
Yeah, that very rarely happens to get that drop there. It's a very low percentage chance to get it, so I was very surprised to get that. It doesn't really help out too much, but it's something nice to have.
Yeah, so this is what happens if like you skip worlds, you have to do these portals. Because we skipped OC and Atlantica, we have to do these two portals, which are just way faster than actually doing the world. So this one here is Summon Simba, and when you charge up Simba, your Keyblade lights up. We call these ticks, or that's what Beatrix used to call them, but generally that's the easiest way to call it. We call it ticks. So you do a 2-tick, and then you do...
Goodness gracious.
Oh, that fireball got way close to you there. Oh, no, it actually hit you.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, so he's just going to leave and go back in, because once you get hit there, the entire fight just goes to hell. I don't know how the fireball actually got to him there. I think he just mistimed his tick there. This fight can go wrong for just silly reasons. So, and once you've got your 2-tick, you can just go for max damage on Simba and just kill the 3 waves that I have. So if you do 3 ticks, the only difference is the enemies get stunned. But it's slightly slower than doing the 2-tick. So one more roar here, and then we get to dismiss Simba and then move on.
It's very unfortunate that didn't go right the first time. That usually never happens, but sometimes you can just get clipped by the fireball by the defender there.
Yeah. Sometimes he walks towards you, and sometimes he doesn't. He didn't walk towards you there. He walked the first time he walked towards him and then did the fireball. So now we get to do the Atlantica portal. Just get to destroy some jellyfish, and then the reason why we're using fire to destroy these and then attacking them is because if you attack them normally, they split apart into 3 more enemies, and then we just use gravity on the big fish and then destroy the little green things and then kill the big fish again.
I'm low on MP because of the.
Yeah, you're low on MP because you didn't get the Simba strat the first time.
Yeah, so which is fine.
Yeah, so you just gotta hit these guys instead. It's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Well, usually the fight doesn't go that way, but like I said, I messed up the Simba strat on OC portal, so I was very low on MP there.
Yep. So now we get to go to the best portal, which is the 100 Acre Woods one, because if you recall, we didn't go there either. So that's another world that we skipped. But in this one, there is no fight. We get given a free Mega Elixir. We get given a free heal on the save point, and then we get to move on. So lovely. So this is the final portal where there's 2 fights with Invisibles and then a boss fight. So we destroy these Invisibles, and then we get a free elixir given to us as well, which is useful for another big item. And then we get to go to the boss fight. One thing you have to make sure here is you don't get hit by the portal at the back, because it's quite a common mistake to accidentally go back through the portal. And that's happened to many people. You go back through the portal and then you have to refight all the Invisibles again. Cool, and then after this guy dies, the whiffs, dude.
Yeah.
Goofy at him.
Normally I would put on an Air Combo Plus, but I moved that in my menuing and I do it after this fight. So now's the Chernobog fight.
Yep, good old Chernobog. So there is we call this we call this strat that we're going to be going for the quick kill, because we try and kill him basically before he gets to his actual desperation move. Because his actual desperation move is really, really hard to deal with, because you have to glide the entire time in this fight. Leaf Bracer here is actually broken because it gives us so many iframes to everything, so we just use that to nail through all of the fire-based attacks. When we get to a certain point in this fight, he will push us back a couple of times. But first we've got to deal with Firewall, and with Leaf Bracer you just heal a couple of times and then you get through it for free. His HP is actually in quite a good position actually, so...
Yeah, Goofy didn't help out that well, but I'm in a good spot here for the kill.
Yep.
All right.
And he should die before he gets through to do much into this attack. Yeah, that's pretty good. And if you drop down to the bottom here and land in the volcano area, it just kind of stops you from having to lower down the entire way down to the entrance there. So now we have to drop down.
Oh, just...
You're right there, mate.
I'm beefing the menus. That's okay.
You're beefing it.
Yeah, I have no sub too, so well, whatever. We'll continue. I just have to make sure to put on the Mega Elixir because this is really important for this fight here.
Yeah.
I just want to double check I have it. Good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fine. So, the reason why he's checking to see if he has the Mega Elixir, on previous versions of this game, there's another Archbehemoth fight coming up here that we'll deal with in the exact same way, where we'll use gravity and then ours. After this fight finishes with this behemoth, there's actually a period where the menu in the bottom left actually goes blue, which means we can open up the normal menu. On the PS4 version, the blue menu just pops up and goes away really, really quickly. You can pause it during that time, and people have like learned the timing for it, but it is just safer to just throw out the Mega Elixir than try and like time it right. See right there, it went blue, then went transition straight to the next part of the fight because it just loads instantly.
So this is final rest. We have to do 100. We have to defeat 100 Heartless in order to progress to the last part of the game. It's pretty scary, but we'll try to get through it.
Yeah. So we're going to deal with the first two waves, and then we're going to Simba through the rest of them. So the first wave is a bunch of Dark Balls. Second wave is a bunch of Invisibles. Hopefully they will fly towards you. You're just going to like go here and spam a bunch of gravities. Hopefully Goofy's a bro with the MP gifts, and then they all die, and then you summon Simba.
That was a bit late on the summon.
That was a bit late on the summon, but the Invisibles part was good.
The camera was... I couldn't hear anything. I only had like one ear phone in, so I couldn't hear if the Heartless spawns or not, but we'll see if we can get it or not. Yeah, we got it. We're fine.
You should be good. You have way more time than what you tend to think. So now that we got the Simba out, we got the first roar out, we can actually just use Simba throughout the rest of this fight to deal with every other wave. Because Simba, with this amount of MP, has enough charge to destroy everything. So even after this roar, Simba technically runs out of MP, but because we start charging up the roar before Simba runs out of MP, he still sits there and waits for us to finish, and then he'll disappear. So Simba's our big bro for that, so... And then we get another free Mega Elixir, and we get to go to final fights.
Final fights are my favorite. Hopefully we can get this through pretty fast.
Yep.
The second to last menu.
So he's going to throw on his last few abilities, and MP Rage, so whenever he gets hit, he... Oh,
goodness. Done the menu. I was thinking
right
ahead.
There, yeah, you're thinking further ahead?
Oh, yeah, and then Goofy, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and the Goofy stuff.
I was thinking about the menu ahead. I was trying to take off his tornado.
Yeah.
Or put it on, rather.
Yeah.
You can do both of those menus here, but most people just, I guess on PS4 they separate them out. Yeah, I had a little bit of a brain fart there, but that's fine.
I think the reason why is because Goofy Tornado messes with Ansem 1.
Yeah, you're right.
I think that's why you split it up, because Tornado messes up how Ansem 1 acts and stuff. So yeah, so we now just get to go to the little cave at the back here, and then activate a couple of cutscenes, and then we get to fight Ansem 1. Ansem 1's a very fun fight. He likes to fly around and just not be in your face. So hopefully hopefully he kind of sits there. He has a bunch of moves that he can do. The one that you don't really want to see is the Beyblade one, where he shoots a bunch of discs out. But ideally, what you want is you want him to stay in this corner here, and you just kind of stay in his face, and then just hit him, and then use R's whenever he brings up the Guardian in front of him. And then you go the other side of him, and then you knock him back into the corner. So after a few hits is when he'll bring the Guardian up, and then you just make sure you're on the side facing the corner whenever you're done. And hopefully this goes quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I still have him in the corner, so we'll see.
Yeah, this is going pretty well. And then he'll do this move here, which like we call submit. If he grabs anybody, like that, Ansem will start doing this glowing orb attack, and just kind of start charging towards you. Now it's going a bit kind of pear-shaped. Now hopefully Goofy's a bro and actually gives you stuff. Oh.
Yeah, Goofy did not cooperate with me there.
Yeah, Goofy
got the fight.
Yeah, Goofy wasn't getting good on his MP. He only had one bar there. If this was if this was the originals where MP gift was only 1 MP, that would have been fine. But in FM, they nerfed MP gift to require Goofy needing 2 MP rather than just 1. So real nice.
Alright, so that was the very last menu in the game. We have 3 more bosses left, and we should be finishing here pretty soon.
Yep. So the next fight we have is we say hi to our boy Darkseid again. So this is Darkseid 3. We get to use R's on him a few times, and then he dies. So this is called the quick kill. We basically try and kill him before his hand moves up with the glowing orb in his hand.
Yeah, I messed up the strat there.
Yeah.
Normally you can do it without jumping up on the hand. And actually you can do it without throwing the elixir in there, but...
Yeah. You can also do it without R's as well, if you get your good combos out. So this is Anthem 2. This is, in my opinion, one of the hardest late game fights. He's going to try and skip the desperation move that he can do at 2 bars or less of health. But the setup for it is very, very specific and can easily fail if you either get hit or something else goes wrong. So he's going to dodge roll away from him for a second here. Going to wait for him to do something, and then he's going to go back in again. He's going to do 1 hit, 2 hits to get the stun, and then he's going to go for an R's, and hopefully this gets the stun again, or he went for the submit actually. And he got hit by it, right. So when you get hit by the submit, he actually can't do the desperation move, which is actually kind of useful. So you can just keep going for R's.
We got the DM
Sorry,
skip.
I had to mute there because I had to cough.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We had the DM skip in a very weird manner, but we got it. Normally you're not supposed to get hit by the submit there, but we got it, which is
Getting
good.
hit by the submit is sometimes actually good because you can skip it, but it is slower than doing what he tried to do right at he got to the 2 bars of health left, which is the 1 hit into the 2 hits. So this is Ansem 3. Ansem 3 is pretty much you need to do continuous 3-hit air combos on him. You try and avoid finishes in most situations in this fight because the recovery animation on it is really slow while doing gliding. And you want to try and kill this guy as fast as possible. He will just fly around and do hits, but as long as you're leaf bracering through everything and have arrow up, he's not too dangerous. When he gets to his like kind of DM-ish phase here, he just starts firing lasers at you continuously, which is when he starts his little speech here. And after he's finished moving, just lasers continuously bombard you. On the PS4 version, these lasers are really, really fast. So you get hit quite a lot. It's not too dangerous as long as you got arrow up, but you don't have a lot of time in between each laser to get out your hits. Other than that, that was pretty good. Then he throws the Mega Elixir there just so he has the full MP for what's coming up. So you get flung straight into a fight with a bunch of shadows here. And a couple of R's can potentially just destroy this fight completely. You don't want to use too much MP because you need MP for the next fight. So you want to make sure you have at least some left. And then after 2 R's, you just kind of finish them off.
Yeah, the next fight is artillery, which is I'm very bad at artillery. So we'll see how it goes here.
Yeah, so this fight you're meant to like destroy all the little pods that are shooting missiles at you by flying at them and doing air combos. But what you can do instead is you can just land behind them and just go for some Rz's instead. And then you can kill this guy in the middle by hitting a couple times and to get back your R's. Then you just hit these guys a few times.
That was pretty good. That was very good.
Hit those. Yep. That goes on to the next bit. So the next fight is with a bunch of dark balls. So he didn't use any MP items or anything because you get Goofy back here, and yep, Goofy went straight for the MP gift on you. Usually Goofy is a pretty bro here. By using some magic, all the dark balls just kind of swamp towards you, and then you just arse through them, and then you just have to finish them off. So yeah, this is a room of dark balls in a pitch black room. It's pretty good. The only way you can tell where they are is the lock-on reticle. But one good thing about this is they drop Mega Reefers, and grabbing a couple of Mega Ethers can actually be useful for making sure you have some MP. You got a lot of Mega Potions.
I didn't even know.
I didn't
even
even
get rid of those.
Yeah, I didn't even see either.
I definitely have to get rid of those for the last part.
Yeah. Right, so now this is what we call Face. I don't even know what the official name of this thing is. It's like World of Chaos then something.
Yeah, World of Chaos something.
Yeah, but we just call it Face because it's just the face of the ship. So we just kind of go around it hitting it, trying to get in as many hits as we can while maintaining our aero, and whenever we need it, we use Cure. And the good thing is with Leaf Bracer, we can just Leaf Bracer for everything. So we can kind of stay in its face for longer. Cool, this is going well. Goofy died kind of early though, so... Goofy
I'm missing out on a lot of damage from him dying early, so...
Yeah, Goofy, the main reason why we put Tornado on Goofy is because by combining Tornado with our own attacks, it just piles on the damage, like, way harder than just us attacking. So he's going to throw some items because this boss's death animation is really long, and then he's going to hit it a few extra times to make sure he charges up his yellow bar. And now we get to go into a fight, and now we go into a room with a bunch of invisibles that are actually invisible now. So here's a group of invisibles. We get Donald back. If everything goes well here, we use a couple of gravities and then an R's and everything dies. If not, one of them will DM, and that's generally what happens here. You either get it right or one of them just DMs you.
Oh, two of them just DM'd.
Oh, two of them DM'd? Not like this. Three of them DM'd, I think.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay, that was...
yo, nice sliding dash.
very unfortunate.
And the elixir drop.
Yeah, they're being very generous with the items right now, but we have like 2 more fights left before time is coming up, so...
Yeah. So this next guy has a bunch of HP, but by using 3 gravities on him and 1 hit, he just dies. And then 1 hit, there we go, man's dead. And then you attack him a few times to gain back your yellow bar a little bit, just to make sure you have enough MP, but also because there's nothing else that you can do there. So now we're coming up on Ansem 4. Time is at the end of this fight. So Ansem 4, we now have Donald and Goofy with us, so he's going to be pressing triangle in between his combos to call Donald and Goofy to do things. And then when he starts his desperation move here, he's going to create a massive like black hole behind the characters and try and drag you into a huge explosion. We try and squeeze in as much damage as possible here, and then we just kind of fly towards him. And we keep this 1 Mega Elixir to basically use at the end of this move to heal everyone up. And then we can just go back in for damage. And also it helps because it gives Goofy back his MP, so we can start spamming some tornadoes and doing some extra damage for you.
Okay. Time's coming up pretty soon.
Time's on last hit.
And time.
Hell yes, dude.
Oh.
What a run.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, but we got through it, so.
Mishooked ship.
Yeah. A lot of things.
Good old hook ship.
Yeah.
Well, still came in very easily under estimate, so
Oh yeah, and that's Kingdom Hearts 1.5 beginner any percent. It went pretty well for the most part, and I'm glad that Rebel was able to commentate with me on this. I had fun. I hope you guys had fun watching me play this. Definitely, I definitely do think that it could have been better, but you know, it's okay. It's
fine, bro.
it's a showcase. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an every set showcase.
Yeah. So I'm happy with it.
And we got to see you miss hook ship live.
Yeah, most people don't. Most people get that easily. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I thank GDQ for letting me showcase this run off to you guys, and thank you for everybody for watching. I really appreciate it.
Kingdom Hearts is life.
Thank you for showing it all. So, one last time for everybody who has just showed up recently, we've got Need for Speed that we're going to be showing off for the Community Showcase. That's going to be on Monday at 7 Eastern Time. All of the subs and bits that are coming in for the entire month of June are being given to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. Thank you so much to everybody who is part of that.
Come on.
And make sure you're staying up to date with news about SGDQ. We have dates up on GamesDoneQuick.com now. Keep up to date. There's information. They keep on putting it up there. It's wild. We've got a pretty good raid target, and we are going to be sending you all along that way. I think that I'm going to be passing it over to my producer first. Stay tuned, and then we will all be raiding someone real cool.
Don't give up. Come on, Sora. Together we can do it.
Okay.